Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 5, Endure and Survive. And we're back here tonight on a Friday evening to talk about The Last of Us. It was premiered a little bit earlier this week. They decided to stay away from the Super Bowl, which was probably a good idea ratings-wise. For me, it screwed everything up. As much as I love being out here, love getting to talk about this episode, love to get to see the episode early, but now, as Joe said to me in a text message in the middle of the week, now we have to wait even longer for the next episode, and it definitely alters the schedule a little bit. But here we are, and we appreciate anyone that's joining us tonight. Please, if you have any questions or comments, you can join on in at 781-990-8509. Let us know.
Do it.
Let us know what you thought of this episode and the two episodes as a whole, because if we're going to look back at this episode, it's hard not to look back to episode 4 and think about them as one gigantic episode because the stories did go together. And we're going to get into our opinions on this one and if it improved our opinions on last week's at all. And I'm, of course, not alone, as always, on these Last of Us adventures. I'm joined by the wonderful, the amazing Joe Dirty Locks. What's going on, Joe?
Oh, not much. That's what it's feeling like, The Last of Us adventures.
Yeah.
That's what, each episode feels, with the exception of last episode and this episode together, each episode almost feels self-contained.
Yeah, it almost feels like a bottle episode kind of thing where each episode is adventure of the week.
That's right. That's exactly it. It feels more rather episodic right now than Mandalorian-ish, if you will. A little bit. I'm not saying the show is exactly. I mean, in the way that that's a throwback kind of thing where every week it's a different kind of thing. Oh, like Kung Fu, original Kung Fu, the macro story is he's wandering the earth. Yeah. The minor stories every week are what the show's about.
And I'll get it over with at the beginning here, Joe. I really did love this episode. The beginning half was getting me a little bit, snuffing my uppercuts a little bit. I'm looking at my watch. I'm checking other stuff.
Right. Every minute seems fucking precious, dude.
Right.
But, that's exactly what I was feeling. Phil, nail on the fucking head.
But
until the moment shit goes down.
But when
when they get into the tunnel.
Right.
That's the point.
And when shit went down, you better be ready, and it really went down. And I loved the end half of this episode. Maybe I'm just bloodthirsty. Maybe I am just an action schlocky kind of fan or whatever. But I think when they do the action, or maybe they make me starve for it so much that when they give it to me, it's strong. Because the end of this episode was my favorite the show's been since the first episode. When the chaos broke out.
Okay. When after the accident.
Yeah, when that bust when the whole busts open and all of those motherfuckers come out, it was like watching Hard Home for the first time. And it's
a little bit, yep.
And you see everything come out. You feel the tension of what the hell. Ellie and Joel are making it out of there, but or maybe, but that they're making out of there. But I thought the setup for it was, there was a little bit of character shield stuff going on, but Joel had his sights on it. They set it up in a good moment where Joel had a full sniper magazine of sniper rifle.
This scene is very much taken, of course, right from the game. However, altered enough to fit through the moment
of what they were trying to tell.
Correct. There's more enemies you have to kill to get behind the house to get the sniper, and then you start taking out more soldiers. Then the clickers just come.
That was a really fun part of the episode, and then obviously
I want to say, Phil, that hard home connection that you just made, it keeps ringing through my head. And one of the things that was great about the hard home episode was watching all the White Walker, or all the whites, flood off the cliff, right? And one of the great things about this scene, which I like that you went there and I didn't even go there, but seeing them come up out of that hole,
dude,
very reminiscent. It was very forceful and powerful, just like that hard home. I'm gonna have to think about which one I like better. It also reminds me, of course, both those scenes remind me of the Israel scene in
World War
Yes, World War Z.
World War Z. Yeah, absolutely. And it was just an intense moment. And then there was like a boss fight moment where the bloater
The bloater.
comes out. It almost felt like Arkham City there. It's like, oh, now the big guy's coming out. But that was awesome. And to see the evolution of it, and I've heard bloaters built up, and that was really great. And I also we'll talk about stuff we didn't love 100%, but other stuff I loved and was really intense. And I got to ask you if this shit was in the game, because this was just incredible. The stuff at the end with the brothers, and
yes,
that was fucking amazing. That I did not know that was coming, and that
Ellie didn't know it was coming either. Ellie doesn't know he's bit. He's really down. Like, they change a little bit about Sam here, and they change a little bit about Henry.
Is he deaf in the game?
Sam's not deaf, and they never mention that he has leukemia. So they give you two big heartstring pulls. I don't mind the deaf change. I don't know how necessary it was, but I don't mind it because, there are going to still be deaf people in the world, right?
And it was a good device in the episode of the way that they were communicating and bonded them a bit.
I want to say your little brother's got leukemia. This was 10 days ago that dude got caught. Like, little brother's still going to have, he's not out of the woods, right? Like, it could come out at, just, how would you know, there's so many questions surrounding this.
Right, how do you know that?
It seemed like they gave him the magic leukemia pill.
Yeah, Fedra doesn't have Dr. McCoy coming in a starship and giving the woman a pill to grow a new kidney or something like that. They don't have magic medicine, is what you're saying. And
fighting leukemia is a long fucking battle. It's very difficult, and a lot of kids die from it. A lot of kids, adults, everybody sick. Yeah, for long periods of time while they're getting treatment. Yeah,
But I think they tried to do that to make the character more sympathetic.
Oh yeah,
to
pull on your heartstrings. It was like we need to make the audience feel a certain way about characters, so we're gonna really pile it on.
It reminds me of when you're watching a reality show and every contestant on Survivor has when I was 10 years old, I had to walk through the snow barefoot with carrying 20 pounds of books. It was really tough. But I get it. But ultimately, Joe, I thought have someone that didn't know the changes. It worked for me. And
that was completely for the home audience, to get the home audience on board a little more, because any of the video game people, they knew the scene was coming.
Right.
They knew that was coming. They knew this kid's not long.
So what you're saying is they did this to fuck with me even more, and it fucking worked.
And it didn't work for you because it, as a video game audience member, knowing the fate already, it doesn't work. And it seemed to me, with my eyes, like a blatant fucking grab at heartstrings and shit like that.
Fair for me.
All I could think was, watching this, as soon as he dies, I would feel more like I was just grossly manipulated if I didn't see it coming. But
fair enough. From my perspective, I was just learning about characters, and I didn't know that there was something.
Why didn't they give him a club foot and three working fingers also, or let's really pile it. Let's give this kid. What else can we do? Let's make him blind in one eye too.
Leave the kid alone.
Let's have the brother put the paint on his face and accidentally burn out one of his eyes with the oil paint or the latex paint.
Leave
just to add it on a little bit.
Leave the kid alone. But
in the video game, this kid isn't allowed to take any toys with him. The brother isn't pulling out fucking crayons and shit like that for him. And
so again, to offer the alternative perspective, as you asked, for me watching it, it just seemed like a character trait, something that motivated Henry to work for Fedra, and it seemed to track for me in what I was shown on the screen. So this is one of those interesting parallels where I completely I'm not going to argue.
It does track on the screen and how they.
I'm not going to argue with your perspective coming from a game perspective of seeing this, and from my end, they had to introduce these characters in one episode and make you care about them in one episode to be able to have the payoff at the end of this episode. And whatever they did, whatever mumbo TV heartstrings Aerosmith song. I don't want to miss a thing. Pink is my favorite crayon shit that they combined to do this ended up working on me.
And did it work on you the exact opposite? How they were like, they kind of introduce you to a sympathetic, nice leader, not necessarily nice, but a woman who's in charge and take
no,
command and beat back Fedra, and then in this episode completely turn her fucking heel. My brother wanted forgiveness. He was the Jesus in the family. I just want blood and revenge.
Joe, the problem with that character is not in of how she was written or designed. No, it's the performance. It's the performance.
It's also how it was written. I've got to say, after it finishes up, like the little speech in the bedroom with the bunk beds about when she was a kid and how her brother or husband or whoever the fuck he was,
so you weren't feeling
was so kind and awesome. And then we get the same thing from Henry about him. And then to like,
so Joe, what you're saying is you weren't feeling Kathleen Moore in this episode.
I don't feel the here's the thing, I don't feel the role itself, the character itself. I still, having watched both episodes back to back, having that character, any of the backstory from the character, or any of the moments, like we could have just if the only lines she had was when that fucking truck barreled through and she came out and she was like, "Some kids deserve to die." That is all we needed from this character. We did not need any other moment of her on screen whatsoever.
I would say, especially with ultimately the way she went out. Okay, a couple of things before we go any further.
We kind of like, because here's the thing. Okay, because we get the backstory of what happened also from Henry about like kind of the revolution. We could have got it that way. Like, why are you on there? Because he tells, my brother has leukemia and I sold out the leader of the fucking revolution. We don't need any words from her whatsoever after we hear that. That explains why these people are fucking hunting Henry down, right? And we know why they're hunting Joel and Ellie down. And then she even says both of those things when she gets out of the fucking truck and they're standing behind the car. Why didn't they all just walk around the car? Like, what are we waiting for here? Like, they're not shooting back at this point, right? Like, they're not shooting at you. You're all just standing in the middle of the street. Like, it's this big dramatic fucking moment. Come out from behind the car so I know you're submissive to me. Like, that's all that was. A big fucking show moment. And it's a big fucking show moment, and it's a big fucking cliche show moment, because it's the same as every other goddamn fucking bad guy moment. Ha ha! I'm going to tell you my evil plan before I kill you. Oh shit, everything went wrong. Like, come on. That's like, really, that's just fucking bad writing. The whole thing was fucking bad writing that had to do with that character and that part of the story altogether. And it would have been much less fucking unsufferable if that's the only part we got from her.
Fair points, Joe. Let's get into the live chat.
Yes, Slim. Kathleen sucked.
Let's get into
character was awful.
Let's get into the live motherfucking chat. Shempemp, we hope you have a great evening. Great to see the walking David. Great to see our buddy Jay in the live chat. Rishi says this episode was nuts, still recovering. Big E says, good evening, collaborators. Nola Boy, what's up, Big E? Killmonger, best episode. Slim says, good evening. We got Igor in here. First half bored me, but then we got the game stuff. Love the second half. We got Laura, who is finishing up the episode. Then she's going to be popping in here. Slim says, when they went in the tunnels, my game instincts kicked in. I was just waiting for something to happen up.
So that when they get in those tunnels, man, in the game, there's a lot more that kind of goes on in the tunnels, of course. A lot more action and gameplay shit. But that soccer ball shit, there's a soccer ball in the game. That playroom is there. It looked very
similar,
like the game. And minus that there were some walkers that you end up clearing out of the tunnel. And it's in those tunnels you come across differently, and you're not like planning to go down into the tunnels to get out of Pittsburgh at the time. You end up in them, running from the people trying to kill Henry. Henry was never with them. They were supposedly traveling through town, and these people are cannibal raider, evil people, not revolutionaries.
Trying to take back the
time. Trying to take back from Fedra. They're just like fucking people coming through town, kill them, take their shit, see if their shoes fit, see what they have for supplies or food, leave the bodies wherever, and move on. Find more people to go kill and
Get
take
some
from.
more meat.
And so, yeah.
Rishi says Hard Home is a good example. Killmonger says I like the beginning, kind of a flashback. We'll talk about that during the recap. John Haymaker asks us Chiefs or Eagles. I say the Chiefs. Mahomes is tough, and I think he's the best quarterback right now playing. So I'm going Chiefs, and this is coming from a Raider fan, so that's a tough pick.
If he continues his career the way it's been going, 3 out of 4 Super Bowls
Or something.
he's played it, he's been to, or something like that.
Yeah, I think
you got to say, if that career continues, that the way it is, to keep that team together. A lot of what makes Mahomes successful, aside from his pure athletic ability and his not giving up on any fucking play, is Kelsey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is his I can't think of the wide receiver's name on
and
that
his
team.
and his coach and his system. Anyways,
right? There's a lot.
There's a lot, and there's no reason to think he won't be doing that for the next 15 years. Mad Sinister says best episode ever. Killmonger says, "Father, how much ammo did that sniper had?" Tracy G says episode was fire. Walk Up David says as much as Joel needed for the episode. That's how much ammo he had, and. The leukemia part made less sense than the death part, says Slim, as Joe was saying, but he knew he was dead in the episode, so it didn't matter. John Haymaker says, when I was your age, I used to walk 10 miles through the snow to get to school. I wondered if they were going to go pull a switcheroo with the brothers. Cleft Pilot, yes, Joe, no fucking crayons. No fucking crayons. Completely hate Kathleen, the character, the writing, the actress. John Haymaker, yes, because we've got a few more channel members on last week's show, I was able to unlock another emoji, so if you look in the chat, yes, in fact, we've got Angry Homelander. So you're mad about something? The Homelander will take care of it for you, John Haymaker. I love it, but Phil's recaps I loved it. Oh, thank you, Monk Monty. Appreciate it. Before we go any further, I just want to send some special love to my other podcasting partners, Bridgeford, Tony, who are streaming on Tony's channel, and a huge celebration for Tony's 10-year anniversary here on YouTube. Lots of positive vibes, lots of awesome energy to Tony, and 10 more years and even bigger for all of us. Sending all of those good vibes over there. If any of you guys are in both places, make sure you pop in the chat and give Tony our love here and all that sort of shit. And if you're not watching us, bounce over there or bounce back and forth. It's party night. You can switch back and forth between the streams. So thank you to everyone that has checked me out over there over the last couple of years, and I will be back doing many streams with Tony and Bridge soon. And thank you. Anyway, so lots of love to Tony. So let's get into our voicemails and texts that we have. Let's see. We got our first text message, which is from our buddy Roger, I think. Let's go. I think this was before the episode. I like to play his after episodes ones first. So let's get to Walking David first.
Hey, what's up, Phil, and what's up, Joe, and the live motherfucking chat. I've got to say, this week's episode was far, far better. This is the kind of shit that we need. I know that you'll get into it later, and sorry if I'm jumping way ahead, but I cheered when Kathleen got her face pummeled. I haven't been that happy since.
I love you, David. And just so you know, I'm including David's headshot every time he calls in case for all your casting needs. David is a well-seasoned and talented actor, and if you're watching this and you enjoy this voice or you enjoy our show, you can help us out by casting David out, because the bigger David gets, the bigger we get. So here we go.
I saw Tara's head on a pike, you know what I mean, in The Walking Dead. So I really enjoyed it. This is a lot better. And I love getting to see the different types of, I guess, zombies in this. That's exciting for me as somebody who has not played the game. That's really, really cool. And it was just super well done, very well acted. And although we only had those brothers for this episode, I was actually very much pulled into their story.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Back to the episode.
Thank you, David. Love you, buddy. And And someone said nice pecs for David. Yep. And Madsen says, yep, Tara's head.
Some nice titty.
Yep. David's looking good. And good. I'm glad you guys are dual wielding. Make sure you send all of our love over to Tony and Bridge, and huge happy 10-year anniversary.
Double fist that shit, yo.
Teflon TV. You keep double fisting these.
Roll that
streams.
YouTube vote.
Do it. Okay, here we go. 773 for Joe. I think this is Tracy.
Hey, Phil and Joe. This is Tracy G from Chicago.
Welcome back.
Just calling to give my thoughts on episode 5. As per usual, I just wanted to say that this episode right here was freaking awesome. Everything
Woo!
just like the video game.
Okay, I'm gonna keep play the rest of Tracy's message and rewind it here. But I love how Tracy could be a game show host. She knew exactly how to set it up that she gave the same lead up as the last couple of weeks when she didn't like the episode. So she was like, I'm gonna hate. How I feel about this episode is I hate it. How I feel about this episode is I love it. She gave it the same tactic. So I wasn't sure what to expect. I noticed a little more joy in the voice.
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, she gave it the same sort of lead up. So I appreciate the mystery box. So we're going to play the rest of the message.
This is one of those rare episodes where I'm like, and not episodes of this show, but of television in general, where I'm like, really? 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 But I like the episode.
Yeah. No, and Joe, we'll get into that when we break down the whole episode. But sometimes this is my whole thing about I like bad TV as much as I like good TV. Not that this was a bad TV, but it's sometimes the quality of everything produced can go beyond what your own needs are. You've said before you absolutely hate dream sequences. In any episode, you hate dream sequences. But I've heard you on record say that you like The Sopranos test dream or get my sausages in Telltale Mozzarella.
Have you ever had our sausages?
Yeah, you quote that like more than you quote Joe Pesci. So I get it that like sometimes quality overvalues opinion and taste. Like there's bands that I don't like the style of music, but then you hear them rock out and you're like, this band's good even though I don't like ska music or something, or I'm just picking a random style of music. Like you can just talent outweighs.
I'm not a huge country fan, but there are country songs
that rock the fuck out.
I'm like, fuck, why do I like this song?
I
don't like country.
Dude, I hate country music, but I'm like, Keith Urban can play a guitar solo. And like I like some bluegrassy like.
Dude, whoever that guy is that's on fucking Yellowstone that plays the guitar through the first few seasons, that like he's an actual country musician too. That dude is fucking awesome.
Exactly.
So
it's like you can respect talent and respect something even if you're about to have a Joe off here. That doesn't mean you're not going to Joe off on a few stuff when we get into our recap, but it doesn't mean you didn't enjoy the episode. So let's play let's play Tracy G's message.
To be fair though, it is a really bad episode.
Well, no, fuck you. We'll get into this. Fuck your ass.
I'm being fair.
No, you're not. You're being a whiny game boy.
That's why I did so, and that's what I was gonna say is that's why I do like the episode is because again, there's game aspect and game things. So I'm watching, and even though I'm like really, 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 and I like it because I'm reminiscing in certain scenes and certain parts of this where I'm like, this is game shit that I remember, and I'm watching the subtleties and the differences and in those scenes, and I'm like, I'm trying to.
I'm just giving you.
And that's fun, and I liked it. So
let's get to
that's why I like it.
Let's get to our voicemails, and then we'll get to this recap.
Yeah, finish up Tracy.
So we can.
We gotta finish her off.
We gotta finish Tracy off.
Hey, Phil and Joe, this is Tracy G from Chicago. Just calling to give my thoughts on episode 5. As per usual, I just wanted to say that this episode right here was freaking awesome. Everything just like the video game. I even like the chemistry with Joel and Bella Ramsey for the first time playing Ellie.
And I will play the rest of your messages. I made it. Maybe I said this last week, but this was definitely Bella's best episode.
Both of their acting was very good in this episode, and it's safe to say that I'm thinking we don't need any more directed episodes from Kaufman or Mason. I think this episode was directed perfectly, and you can tell Joel Pedro was really benefiting from the new director in this episode. I loved everything as far as with the monsters. Everything was completely like the video game. I loved Henry, Sam. I even actually liked it, Kathleen, in this one, especially when I kind of had a feeling she was going to get killed. But I just wanted to
talking about your kid deserved to die.
Share my thoughts for this episode 5. I liked it. Still think the other episode 4, 3, and 2 was okay, but 4 and 3 really sucked. But episode 5, The Last of Us did redeem themselves. So hopefully they can keep going like this until episode 9, because it will make the end of season 1 all that much better, since I'm actually now starting to see the relationship and chemistry with Joel and Ellie. So I actually feel like they're actually Joel and Ellie now. So with that being said, that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
As always, thank you so much for leaving a message, Tracy G. Looking forward to hearing your opinions all season. We also have a bunch more voicemails that we will get to, all of them as we go. Let's get to a little bit of the live chat, though.
So one of the main reasons that she mentions she likes that episode was the same thing I said. It's about that gameplay, those scenes from the gameplay that really pull out that nostalgic smile from a player who loved the game. Having said that, like, I don't agree with ending up liking any of the Kathleen shit. I think, like, if you like that sinister Negan kind of like,
no, I think her point was, and I'm not making her point for her, but I think her point was that she liked that she knew Kathleen was going to die.
I didn't know that until she started opening her mouth and they were all hiding behind. I'm like, okay, any second now Joel's gonna put a
sniper. Yeah, I thought Joel was just gonna snipe her. I was wondering why he didn't.
Right, I was kind of wondering too. I think he was just waiting to see what was happening. Who do I shoot first, the guy next to her or her?
The thing I want to do, the one thing I want to mention though, and I don't usually talk about stuff like this, Joe, but I just feel like I got to bring it up. The after episode discussion. They were doing that whole thing where the creators of the show, I wasn't looking at it, I was just listening to it in the background, and they were talking about this big scene, I'll just refer to it as the hard home scene for now, just for reference purposes. The scene at the Kansas City scene where all the monsters came out. And they were saying that we have a zombie survival show where we haven't seen a lot of monsters, or I forget the quote. I'm paraphrasing. It was something like, So far, we've had a show without a lot of monsters, and and they said, the reason why is because most of those encounters are in gameplay, and we're not really featuring the gameplay in a show about characters. So we put that moment in there because we wanted the audience to feel like the game player for a moment. We wanted to feel that energy. The only issue I have with that, because I did feel that, I understood going into this, and I'm not saying this makes it a bad or a good series. This is just my interpretation going in before I went in. I kind of thought it was going to feel like that all the time, that they were going to try to simulate that feeling all the time. But instead, it was interesting or noting to point out that the creator, when talking about this, is using... They're having to make moments to put that kind of stuff in because the story that they're telling is more character driven. And I just think that's interesting. It's obvious, but it's also interesting that at least they know enough to say, yeah, we need to bring in some more monsters, because this episode and these last 2 episodes needed that scene. And if I viewed this all as, and I'm going to reiterate my point before that may seem redundantly stupid, if they had made this a like an hour and 20-minute episode, like a slightly longer episode, and with a clever editing, I think they could have edited last week's and this week's episode into one perfect sort of storm kind of situation.
it's definitely long enough when you look at it. Did this one run long?
This one was 60 minutes, right on.
Right on.
And,
Right.
and the last one was 45.
Right. That's an hour and four. Basically it's a movie.
Could
right?
you have cut 20 minutes from last week's episode?
Yes, Phil, I could have. And you know where there's 20 minutes between the two, not from last week's episode. Between the two episodes, I could cut 20 minutes. Absolutely.
And people could say I'm wrong and I'm being
Because I'm cutting out all the Kathleen shit that does not need to be there.
And again, I'm not saying like I definitely love this episode. I'm gonna give this episode a high score when we get to scoring at the end. And I thought this was fucking awesome. And I didn't hate last week's episode. I just think if the proper editing to put last week's and this week's episode together, you would have got the ultimate experience. And I might do that in my free time and do one of those fan edits of these two episodes.
All you have to do is
say.
take out the Kathleen shit. Anything that is Kathleen and that's not just mob driving around in the streets or kicking indoors. Like anything that's not that gets taken out. There's your 20-minute save.
Yeah.
And
anyways, I don't want to. I don't want to dwell on that too much, but it's just something I was thinking about again. I think it would have mitigated some people's issues with last week. Anyways, the Daywalker says, I haven't watched tonight's episode any good. I thought it was very good, Daywalker. Last week's episode was 45. Igor agrees with me. Thank you, Igor. Slim says, if they don't put in Infected and make it a priority, then the ending will mean nothing. What is up? Joel and Ellie were incredible with the sniper gameplay. Her off to... yes, 100% that they were being loud in the tunnels. And at the point that they entered the tunnels and came out of the tunnels, I'm like, oh, are we not going to get any like interactions with? Because that was the point of the episode where I wasn't dissatisfied, but I'm like, where are them fucking monsters? Where are the fucking monsters? What's the thing from Bastion on the floor the other day?
Honestly, there should have been at least one or two in the big room that they end up finding with all the kid toys. Honestly, there should have been. Like in the game, when you come across the big room, there's a bunch that you gotta fight. You don't.
In fairness, I think they were trying to save it all for that big boom.
They absolutely
big
were,
bada boom.
But like I said, and I'm fine with how they did the tunnels. They put a couple of moments in there that I thought should be there. Joel looks at the wall at one point and sees a note on the wall, or drawing with some writing on it.
Yep.
Like that's a note and a picture you find in that room in the gameplay. It's an artifact. The soccer ball play, really quick, where they're playing soccer. There's a soccer ball around that you can kick around.
Were they a little loud? Maybe they were a little loud. But
yes, and they were a little loud, like constantly. Like there's a lot of problems I had. This dude is opening up the fucking windows like. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Let's clear the decks of our voicemails, and then we'll get into our recap. This is from Roger before the episode. Let's listen to a few seconds.
Hey, Phil, it's Roger here. Or Spanky Snow, I forget. I've been binge watching Drawn Together, and the characters just mix with me. I just wanted to call a prequel call again. You know what's one of the best things about shows like The Last of Us? You, Phil.
Oh, thank you.
That's right, you.
Thank you. And I love Drawn Together. Great random reference. And let's listen to your, what I assume is a better, or not better, your actual voicemail. But I love a good Spanky impression. I love.
Yep, no darts.
I love Drawn Together.
Hey, Phil, it's Roger. Just finished the episode. I wanted to finish it on time, but, every 5 minutes, something needed my attention, and
it happens.
To be resolved. But finally got.
I'm always fixing myself, like lifting them up when they're stuck. I get what you're saying.
Done. I'm gonna watch it live right now, so I know nothing about what's going on your live right now. I gotta say, this episode. I mean, I watched it with my girlfriend, and definitely moved her. She was upset, but in a good way. The way that you're supposed to feel upset.
That ending is going to upset.
And I did not know Sam was supposed to be deaf. I thought he was mute, but apparently he's deaf. And I didn't know he was deaf in real life too. That just that was even more of a beautiful touch than it needed to be.
And everyone was. That's the other thing I want to say, that so far, Kathleen aside, the acting in this show and in this episode was really great between our principal four people. Pedro and Henry had some excellent chemistry with the distrust, not trust, the uncomfortable dinner time. Pedro's great he's such a boisterous personality in so many other things that he plays. In this, he's really distrustful and wanting to kill everybody, and I love it, and I love his attitude. And holy shit, we got Tracy G with the super chat donation. Holy shit, you are absolutely correct. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying both these episodes don't work in on to themselves. I'm saying that it would have worked better in giving you an extra episode if at all at the end of this season that we're like, oh, this season felt rushed in season 1. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll feel just right. But if I think you could have saved an episode here by combining episode 4 and 5.
That Kathleen shit. By taking out all that Kathleen shit except her last fucking scene when she's doing that, like I said, cliche bad guy. Come out from behind the car because
I told you, Negan.
Fucking shoot the car up until you're fucking dead.
She's slightly more mellowed Negan, and even the way she curses is Neganish. Quick. Oh no, we'll get to the recap. But was the guy helping the kids that disappeared? Was that the doctor that got killed in the last episode?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was the same guy, but I wasn't sure. I wrote down my notes.
I'm almost positive it was the same guy.
I thought, you thought it was an Al Pacino. Ooh-ah, it was an Al Pacino impression. Because she was a hey-oh. Okay, we got our good buddy, JSM down.
Hey, moral question. If you're in a zombie apocalypse and you know someone has, like, leukemia or some other fatal disease, when it comes time to, like, pick people to do, like, the really dangerous suicide, a zombie apocalypse comes down to somebody having to do something like that, you automatically just volunteer the person with the leukemia because you're like, well, they're going to die anyway, and we're in a zombie apocalypse. You can't get to a hospital, so it's not like you're going to get cured.
Now,
all right, later.
Good. Yeah, but once their diseases progress to a certain point, I'm not necessarily not on board. Like, those are the first people that should volunteer for that. But like, they're weak, they're sick.
It depends.
They're not in the best of condition to go do.
It's a piece by piece situation. There's a few different movies and television shows that deal with that exact issue. One of which is The Sopranos with Bobby Bacala's senior, his father, dealing with a very hard job that he may lose his life. Another one is Star Trek episode where an older Klingon commander steals a ship to do a deadly flight and he's way past his prime and he fucks up everything on the ship. Worf puts his head on the line to get this guy assigned to Martok's ship, and he keeps fucking up, and he's like a great hero of Klingon age, and he screws up because he's old and he's forgetting shit, and he won too many battles and didn't die, so he's still alive. And then they end up relegating him to like throwing him off duty. So at the end of the episode, when the big, cataclysmic sci-fi thing needs to happen, that dude steals the ship and goes on a suicide mission because he's gonna die anyway. And there's
the Klingon way.
The Klingon way. But there's also an episode of 24 where Jack Bauer is going to do something, and this guy, I won't spoil it.
Yeah, I'm going to die anyway heroics.
Right. The I'm going to die anyway heroics. That is a TV trope that exists. So I agree with you, Jay. You're on to something because it happens a lot in situations where the almost dead character shows up at the last minute to knock the hero out, throw the hero out of the dangerous situation because I'm going to die anyway. I'm going to do it.
Fly off with the bomb.
Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm Batman. I got stabbed, so I'm going to fly off with the bomb anyway because I'm going to bleed out. Even though Alfred saw it. A glorious Klingon death, Kyle. Absolutely. Glorious Klingon death. They need to do a better job, Slim says, in making the infected a bigger threat than they have. I get that this is a big story about relationship, but the infected encounters should enhance those as well. I think and I don't know if this is a problem per se, but I think the fact that the story just takes place 10 years or 20 years after the outbreak? 20 years after the outbreak. the setup for how humans deal with, so a lot of the areas in which the humans are interacting are cleared out to a certain extent, but that we've seen so far. But at this point, he's in Kansas City. Yeah, he's got to Kansas City pretty quick. Kansas City to Wyoming, still a long fucking way of open land where there's probably not a lot of people and a lot of infected. So I don't know what's to come, but I bet that as we go on, the infected are going to be even more of a factor moving forward in the story.
Probably not.
Probably not, Joe.
Because I'm looking at 4 episodes left, and I'm looking at how much more location we have to get to.
Oh, how many more spots we have to stop
and
at.
Relationship building, character driven moments we have left. And I'm kind of thinking infected occurrences will play out much like they have.
And the main situation will be our villain of the week, place that we go leading into whatever our finale is.
I mean, we saw scenes from next week, so we know. I'm pretty sure we know we're getting a little bit of Tommy next week, right? So that's Wyoming.
So they're in Wyoming. They walked to Wyoming. They made it. Oh, no.
We walked there in 9 days.
In fairness, each one of these episodes has done a really good job with offering weird perspective time stuff. So maybe it could just be that we see how Tommy got there, kind of thing. And then we flash back, and they're just leaving Kansas City. But we'll see about that. We got a couple super chats we need to get to right away.
Oh, right. Like that could have been flashback to
how when he first arrived,
why he left,
and why he called to Joel for help and sent the radio signal or whatever, or the help radio thing or whatever. Yeah, whatever reason.
The no communicate or whatever it is.
Exactly. Well, we can see why he's there before we flash and deal with Joel and Ellie's mission of the week outside of Kansas City. So,
give me more fucking runners. Give me more clickers.
Jack Bauer would have been great in Last of Us. Jack Bauer would never need to sleep or poop. Jack Bauer is under fucking rated. Jack Bauer would kill them all, buddy. Kill them all. Even Catelyn Stark. Luna says, one of my biggest concerns is that the show deviates too much from the game. The final episodes will be rushed. Ellie's backstory is got to be one episode alone.
Yeah, because they're still doing the Left Behind shit. And so that's going to leave 3 more episodes of this main story. You're going to have 1 episode of him in Wyoming and 1 episode of him in Colorado. And then 1 episode of him if they have to go from Colorado still to Salt Lake City. So those are your 4 episodes right there.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for the super chat donation. It landed on Bite of a Sandwich. So I will definitely take a bite of a sandwich for you in a moment here. I will I have to mute my camera because no one wants to see me eat a sandwich. I think we'll see. And then we got Walking David with the super chat donation. This is for Phil and Joe. Have a drink on me and know that I love you both, and I'd share my limited apocalypse rations with you. Even the SpaghettiOs, Walking David, even the SpaghettiOs. If we were creating our survival team, Walking David, you, Joe, myself, Bridge and Tony would be there as well, and we would survive. We would with Tony and Joe's leadership, keeping us safe, and me and David keeping people laughing. We'd survive this situation. We would make it. Damn any clicker that dares come near us. Joe, here we go. Here's another voicemail from area code 304. As I got to give another spin of the wheel for David and see where this lands.
Hey, Phil and Joe. It is Mad Sinister from West Virginia. You guys are doing a great job with the recap. I'm enjoying it a lot. I also have to say this. I know they say the Super Bowl is this Sunday, but there's no such thing as a Super Bowl, Joe, without Tom Brady.
Okay, we'll cut this off. Right. No, we'll play the rest of your message. Joe, the super chat wheel landed on Joe Drink, so I know you're drinking some coffee. Take a big gulp of that coffee. Oh, he's out of coffee. I'll drink.
I wish I could.
I'll drink for Joe. I'm gonna take. Joe's
I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay, Joe's gonna take his drink, and we'll wait till Joe gets back for to get to your voicemail, the rest of your voicemail, and I will. I'll get to the live chat for a little bit, and then we'll play the rest of your voicemail because Joe, they better do Colorado. When the infected... Ellie pisses me off shooting that big-ass truck with her tiny waist gun. Kyle says, we want to see you eat those sandwich. Super spoilers, but I think Joe will fail. Hope they're doing well. I want to steal all your supplies, Phil. Bella finally sold it for me in this episode. Ellie escaping the infected in the car and saving Sam and Henry was pretty awesome. I thought she just felt super more comfortable in this episode in the role, and her connection with Sam brought another dynamic out of Bella's performance for me. And again, I haven't been negative on her necessarily. I've just been...
well, her performance this week definitely showed that she is still a kid.
Yeah, and she can play it. And that's where she feels she feels super comfortable playing a kid with a kid, and her interactions with Henry and Sam were really genuine. They felt genuine. They felt like two real kids playing. And not like she was a 19-year-old girl being like, I'm playing with a kid. They actually felt like two kids interacting before. I've never seen the Clicker Kids before. This was Bella's best episode for sure. John Haymaker would steal all our supplies. See, Bob, great to have you. Great.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading the chat.
Oh, yeah, I got to finish the voicemail for you.
Okay, yeah.
But do you have a comment for the chat first before you forget it?
It was the super spoiler comment. I think they'll wrap the rabbit stuff.
Go easy,
deer.
Joe.
The rabbit and deer, if that's what I think you're talking about. The little hunting scene with Ellie with the left behind stuff. I think that'll all come in the same episode.
As I've said before, Joe and I will get into spoilers in a separate stream, or if we do get into a section of this stream, we will label it and scream it and yell it. But for right now, please, no game spoilers in the live chat, because we got a lot of virgins to the story at the moment. So area code 304.
The GOAT. I want to just go ahead and say that. But to get into the episode, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was pretty solid. I still will always have a place in my heart for Hardhome on the Game of Thrones episode. I think that episode can't even be touched.
Yeah, it's still
I enjoyed Sam and Henry. I played the game, but it's been a while. And I didn't even remember them, and I didn't remember what happened to them. And so that was actually a kind of a shocker to me, and I love the scene where all the infected are just tearing up the army. And I like Perry. I think he's a cool leader, but I'm not a big fan of Kathleen. I do have a question for Joe, since he's played the games and stuff. How many more bloaters are we going to see? I know it takes them 10 to 15 years to grow, so there's probably not as much bloaters out there, but is there any more that are coming up in the future episodes? And thank you guys for the recap. You guys are doing a great job, and I love to watch this. Every time I'm done with the episode, the first thing I do is wait for your recap. Thanks, guys.
Aw, that means so fucking much to us. And Joe, answer this person's question, damn it.
To answer it is, at this point, we've already supposed to have had at least one other bloater scene, which happens in back in Lincoln. There are a few more bloater scenes and multiple bloater scenes in the game, right? We know it. Like, as far as what you get in the game for infected is 100-fold what you've seen in the show. Like, there is a lot of them moving from one area to another. If you're playing it on easy and just blowing through and have all your supplies and it takes a lot to kill you, then you'll blow through every section in a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes or whatever. If you play it on hard, these things take hours, and you're trying to kill like for hours. But it's still a lot of enemies, and you probably fight a good 10 bloaters in the game total, I would say.
And for whatever it's worth, I do hope we get
maybe 5.
We get a couple more scenes. Like, so far we've gotten 2 scenes for me that have given me this intense, fast-paced bunny feeling, no pun intended for the chat in the top, the discussion in the chat. The feeling like you're on a roller coaster kind of feeling. The first episode with the outbreak breaking out, and this episode tonight both gave me that feeling. I haven't felt that in the other few episodes. I felt other awesome feelings, but I hope there's a few more moments like that throughout the season, because that's my favorite gear that this show has. When they do crazy outbreak feeling where everything's out of control really well.
I'm sorry. For me, the show is not doing a good job in the slightest holding the tension. One of the big things about the game that makes the game so successful, in my opinion, is the tension you feel throughout. Like, you are literally trying to move as silently as possible and hiding and keeping behind cover, not trying to be heard from regular people, not trying to be seen by runners, not trying to be heard by clickers. Like, they do a real good job of holding your attention, even when you're like, okay, I have to kill these first 5 enemies, and that 6th one has killed me for the last 6 hours straight. You still have a level of tension, even though those first 5 enemies are boring as fuck, and you blow through them, and every 6th attempt, the first one kills you, not the 6th one. But either way, the game keeps this tension throughout, even through all the story mode, through all the cinematics, through all the gameplay. And this show is not holding the tension whatsoever. That roller coaster ride that you say you feel, Phil.
I said I felt
in those 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Right? For me, even the first episode, I had a rush. It's content I've wanted forever. It's like, Phantom Menace. I'll go see that shit. I'm 6 times in the theater, 4 times in the theater, right? But we did, Phil.
I know.
So there's that aspect of it. But as far as in those lulls, in the dips in that roller coaster, I am straight out flat, zero tension. They're not holding it. They can hold the tension, right? And then you can fall off a fucking cliff.
Part of
and
it,
hold the tension and fall off.
See, this is where I'll bounce back.
Hold the tension. You don't have to have.
This is where I'll bounce. This is where I'll bounce back on it.
And you've said it too. Even in this episode, you're looking at the fucking minutes because you know the minutes are ticking by and the episode is ticking by. Because now you only have 4 left.
Because it was due for the action. It needed it. But for the most part, this is where I think we differ. And you said this to me a couple episodes ago. I think you said something like, this show's more for me than you, which is funny because it's like a slow character piece. And I fucking love this shit.
I love that character piece stuff too. But there's a way to do it. And I'm not a writer. If I was, I would be rich, hopefully. But but there's a way to do it, to hold that tension and fall off a fucking cliff rather than
I think for the most
build your tension and fall off a cliff.
I think for the most part,
and then lull until.
I think for the most part it's working. I think it lost a little bit in last episode where it dragged, but for the most part I think it has the right balance of character stuff. No, I know what you're saying. You're coming at it from a different perspective. You're coming at it.
I'm saying at it from this perspective. I'm also saying it because in last episode and in this episode, every time that woman was on fucking screen, it killed all the tension. It didn't add to the tension. It was completely a boner fucking killer. I'm not saying
but she
that,
wasn't
it's like in a sexual. I'm talking about in my
you mean the actor, the character was putting you off, and she
and it again. It was all tension killing. It was an attempt to build the tension or to build an evil sinister, and it doesn't work. It doesn't play well because fucking monsters, dude. People are not the most dangerous thing in this fucking world. They're just not. Did you see what the bloater did to all those people with fucking guns? The bloater is that woman.
But
is
in
not
that in the
evil.
defense of
She's
the episode, but Joe, in the defense of the episode, in the defense of the episode, we got that though. We got both.
But it took away from all the tension.
Not for me.
Starts with
not
Joel's
for me.
gun in his face.
I'm not a fan.
And then the tension is gone from that point on until sniper time.
I'm not a fan of that performance and the actress chosen for the character, and it did take me out of it a little bit at times. But in this episode, I thought it was mitigated enough that it worked enough for me that this episode worked as a whole for me in a way that last week's didn't. And I can't necessarily verbalize the difference, but the way she was used tonight didn't bother me as much as last week because she ultimately died and was used.
Yeah, great. It was wonderful. We got to see the character everybody hate get fucking her face beat in and shit. Great, wonderful. But you know what? Like, still not good enough to make it like good enough. It doesn't replace the fact that I'm feeling a little bored and watching minutes tick by on a show and only happy when I see scenes that were like, oh, I can compare this one to gameplay scene.
Yeah, but is that because...
No, it's because they completely like I'm saying, those scenes that involved her completely take us out of the character and See, we're from Joel's point of view and Ellie's point of view in a large part of this, minus what's his name's episode, Frank's episode. So by switching over to this other character throughout these last two episodes completely removes you as the viewer from Joel's perspective. And it puts you thinking about and trying to gain perspective on this other character. And when you do that, you remove yourself from all the tension that you were feeling as Joel. Completely fucking kills it. Done. We have no fucking interest in this woman. We have no investment in this woman. And all they do with this woman is make her more unlikable as the kind of, unless you're like, again, like you keep saying, bringing her to Negan. If you're into that and that's what you're looking for in this show, then you're disappointed at the end when she gets her fucking face.
No, I mean,
and if you're not looking for that, then all it does is remove you from what you're seeing from Joel and Ellie. Takes you out and gives you something else to think about, worry about, and takes away that tension. If they go from that crash right into being hunted straight through up until the moment we see, like, do we don't have to see anything from her, just like that they're running from people fucking shooting at them. Get them. I think they went into that building. Oh, they went down that street. Get them, get them, get them. And shots firing over their head until the fucking night falls. If that's the fucking case, and then they run into Joel and fucking Sam, or Sam and fucking Henry, randomly, instead of being snuck up on after laying the traps and all this shit that were easily tiptoed through. Like, and how the fuck did they? We were able to find you on the 33rd fucking floor. We knew exactly what floor to fucking search to find you and what room to go in on this big fucking building. Walked right up to you, fucking bypassed all your traps, and you're giving me problems about me trying to get you out of the city. Like I'm sorry. Like right there, that was completely unbelievable shit to me. And that's how we were able to find you. As soon as they walked out and they're like in the building and they step on the glass, I'm like, really? It's a 40-something foot story building, and they walked out right on the right floor because they were listening, watching through the stairwell up through the darkness in that fucking stairwell. Right? Joel and Ellie weren't looking back to see if flashlights following them up the entire fucking stair. Didn't hear a single echo of a footstep. Like, they just knew what fucking door they went through. In 46 floors, they picked the right one. How many floors did they search first? Like, come on. That was
Joe,
ridiculous.
All fair questions. Let's get into the live chat a little bit and keep going our voicemails and see what people...
Like, there was so much. Like, and so, like I was saying, if they had done that, if they had done like that them being hunted through the city like it was, that keeps your tension. That keeps the roller coaster fucking running at 100 miles an hour, waiting for that fucking cliff to fall off, which is the big bloater scene, right? Like, you don't need to kill it and have some fucking stupid ass fucking speech in a kid's bedroom to remind you that she's going to go kill a fucking kid and doesn't care, right? Like, and give some fucking stupid evil villain speech about my brother wanted forgiveness, but I'm all rage, piss, and fucking vinegar. Like, that's not the leader. Oh, well, he didn't bring change. You did. Like, come on. Like, it was so fucking cliche. It was so fucking... It was really bad. It really was. And it took away from all of it.
Okay. Okay. So, episode 5 is available right now, Virtual Healthy. Slim says, I love it because I agree. I love ranting Joe. He knows the city, Joe, says top tier.
Yeah. That's why I was able to know that you were on the 33rd fucking floor.
He has had a good guess. Luna says, question, the lack of seeing infected threats, the same as Game of Thrones Night King being dealt with in one episode, seems like they're not the main threat. Good comparison, Luna. Top tier says, feeling rantish. Go get him, Flash. She was trying to be hard to be intimidating. Perry should have been the leader, says Mad. I agree, Joe. Kathleen scenes were cringe. So Ellie seriously thought her blood could heal Sam to the point where she goes to sleep afterwards. Stupid. In fairness, it was a stupid thing, but kids are stupid. So I understand where a child's brain might connect that since I healed, maybe my blood might do this, and that she thought it might actually work. But it was a stupid kid kind of move. She should have immediately gone to the other room to tell Joel and tell Henry what's going on. But we still got a bunch of voicemails to get through.
Right, she puts both Joel and Henry in danger and falls asleep with the child in the room that's been bitten for like everybody to die in that apartment.
Yes.
Like super smart move, Ellie. Like, didn't you learn your lesson? Never mind,
Joe. That's exactly what she did. Area code 773.
And like hold on. It's knowing what I know from the game makes this scene even fucking stupider, Phil. It really fucking does. I don't know if they're going to change some things from what happens in the future in the game. If they don't, it makes this scene, knowing Ellie's past, fucking dumb.
I love how you started out kind of liking this episode, and it's the more you think about it, it's
the more we talk, Phil, the more I think
it's scratching your asshole.
I watch this show, and I am ear to ear because I love the game so much, and watching them put the game moments that I see that I'm like, holy shit, that was good. That was like just like that small moment when Joel crashes into the laundromat, shoots that one guy. We see the other guy run over, call him an asshole, and then like sneak around the building in hunched mode. Like that rang fucking so true from the game. I thought I was watching a clip from the fucking game. It's like that similar, and like little things like that. The scene where she's in the truck and she's thumbing through the porno and throws it out the window. I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking great.
Joe, you're
so many great things.
You're gonna love Kyle's comment. I haven't seen the episode yet, but I know Joe is right.
That's right. Let's right. If you look back, David's already told me he said some of the same shit in some voicemails.
Yeah, no, we're gonna play in a second here. Let's listen to a couple of our voicemails.
Gentlemen, I'm watching your live stream right now, and I have this idea that probably will never see the light of day, but maybe be tickly a fancy in the appropriate way. I would love to see The Walking David being featured on The Last of Us Season 2 or The Last of Us Part 3. Can we get some sort of petition going on? I would love to see that. Good evening, gentlemen.
Absolutely. I think we can hope this all happens. I do know I would love to see The Walking David out there because, again, if David could be there, that means he could be like, oh, I got him on my buddy Phil. He'd be a great clicker. And we'll get me. Joe, you could play a runner or something like that. And yeah, it could be great. Okay.
So, Wolf, maybe just real quick on Wolf's comment that he took the bolt action instead of any of the semi-automatics. I don't know much about guns, but maybe the bolt action is less likely to jam, easier to clean, things like that. Maybe it has ammunition that is easier to find, different things like that. I don't know, but in the game, you get a bolt action rifle. It's and believe me, it's a powerful rifle, but it's a pisser to fucking use. That's for sure.
Here we go, Joe. This is from area code 516.
Hey, how's it going? It's Anthony from New York. I really liked, I don't know how you guys felt about the episode. I haven't heard sort of your takes yet, but
Joe loved it.
I was a little hard on last week, but this week, actually, I really enjoyed this week's episode. I loved how much of the game we got.
Joe, just tell me to stop when you need it.
I was nervous at times, or it was like, oh man, they're doing this sniper thing, which is awesome, but now suddenly the Kathleen and her crew are showing up, and damn it, I wanted him to shoot the infected, and then we got that even better within the scenes. This was mayhem with the infected and the freedom people. And
okay, just one thing I want to jump on board with you, and I'm going to play the rest of your message, buddy. Do not worry. We got TV trope number 1336 when the bad guy has the good guy at gunpoint and something happens just at the right time to stop the situation.
The bad guy from getting over on the good guy,
and
killing the good guy.
It's sometimes on like Prison Break, it's always a character you're not thinking about shows up and punches the person.
Hey, everybody in chat, name one now.
Right, exactly.
Name a movie
or
that
TV
isn't
show.
Just generic. Every Bond.
Yep, every Bond movie, every
spy movie ever.
Batman with Robin, like at any situation, like the last person, every episode of Prison Break. So it was like right at the right moment, like. And then what always runs me as weird in situations like that, if you're the bad guy and you have like the bane of your existence human in front of you with the gun right there,
shoot them right then.
Even if there's an explosion, why can't I just go click? Click, click, click. I'm not a gun person either, but I've fired a squirt gun, and if I want to squirt you and like a firework goes off, it's pretty quick. My finger's pretty damn quick, and I can go like this and then run. And she had him because they were right behind a car 2 feet away, and she didn't know that they were right there. They were like talking to her. I guess we didn't realize that the extra power that Henry had was that talking box power that you see in weird cartoons where you can project your voice to a different situation.
To a different location.
Because they didn't know that they were talking from the car right next to where they were. But anyways, so they were very close, and it could have just gone squeezy, squeezy, squeezy. But then the zombies blow up right at the right moment. Great scene, really intense, really well done if you don't think about it too much. But that's just and this isn't just this show. This is not about this show. That's just a general TV movie moment that generally bothers me when it happens, because I'm like, bad guy, just pull the fucking trigger. You got the person at gunpoint, at sword point to their knife or whatever. Who cares about the extra forces going on in the background? You have a half a second and then run. You don't have to immediately do it. Finish your job. Your whole existence that we've known about you is that all you care about is avenging your brother's death. And you have the person in front of you. Avenge. Do you think if Inigo Montoya had the six-finger man and the building was tumbling, he'd be like, yo, I gotta run? Do you think even in horrible Game of Thrones season?
No, but if you'll remember, the six-fingered man and the prince both did it to the Dread Pirate.
They did.
And the six-fingered man again does it to Inigo Montoya by saying, oh, I remember you. This is how your father died.
And even in crappy Game of Thrones Season 8, the Mountain went into a crumbling building being blown up by a dragon queen to just kill his brother. So if you want to kill somebody, like, the bloaters, they're coming out. They're coming out anyway. You have a half a second. And Henry paused. He's like, what now? And what now is bam.
If you're all about that revenge, you see the bloaters coming out. Also, you know you're going to die. You know everybody in that street is dead.
100%.
You see the runners coming out in that amount, in that quickly.
Yeah, people throwing it in. Bond, Westbrook, Con Air, Jack Bauer. Yeah, 24, The Incredibles, Negan, Austin Powers, Sleeper Cell.
Right? It's awful, and they do it in these series, in these shows. They do it over and over and over and over again to us, and then they give them awards like there's some fucking great thing. No, you gave us the same shit fucking writing.
It depends the thing.
And we deserve more than that.
Joe's drinking.
We do.
Joe, you're definitely high on coffee right now. And great to see Shorty in the live chat as well. Oh, shit, I spilled vodka, but, vodka's so clean.
Lick it up.
Good, go to figure. You like go. Oh, let's play the rest of 516's message. Sorry.
And our people, so I was loving that. I guess my big question that I want to ask you guys.
We have answers.
how do you feel about season pacing? Because that's where I'm still concerned.
Season pacing is horrible.
And part of this
right
is
now.
just the conversation from last week where we have these shitty ass shows like Walking Dead that's getting at the bare minimum 16 episodes, and then here we are with a show that deserves that, and we're just getting 10.
Nine.
If you're counting the first,
Nine.
the pilot is 2 episodes, but in total like 9 episodes. I know that we don't spend as much time with Sam and Henry in the game either.
We don't. That's true.
But it feels much longer because it's an interactive experience. You're
Correct.
sort of walking
It
through
does.
several streets, looting several houses. You feel like you're with them much longer. I don't know what it's like for somebody who hasn't played the game, but as somebody who has played the game, I'm sitting here thinking, man, I really want at least 2 to 5 more episodes just to like feel that length of time with these people.
And that's just it. So
it becomes a little predictable, within the show format of like we meet new characters.
Just a few more
and they
seconds,
die
Jeff.
pretty much within an episode. But I don't know. I'm just curious how you all feel about that. I love this episode. I think we're back on track. I'm a little afraid of being a bit unsatisfied by the length of the entire season at the end of it all.
There you go. Joe, something almost similar, echoing some of the points that you were making within one of your few rants.
Yeah, like the pacing is pretty bad, and we don't feel like we're with them that long. So in the game, you're not with them that long, right? You're still only with them for pretty much the same amount of time they show you you're with them in this show. However, the reason you feel like it's a longer time in the game is the game maybe 10 hours, and you spend 2 hours with them between cutscenes and gameplay, right? So it is a fair amount of gameplay time, but in the story of the game itself, it's not a lot of time. So it's a brief time you're with these characters, but you do get a good amount of interaction and cutscene with them. And again, all of that is through Joel and Ellie's perspective, or Joel's perspective still, which keeps that tension in the way it's done.
Joe,
it makes it feel quicker as well.
I want to make sure that I give at least the alternative perspective here, in the sense that I really did enjoy this episode. This was one of the better episodes of the season. The end of this episode had me feeling incredible amounts of television energy. The big reveal with the brothers, something that you knew was coming, I did not know was coming, was a shocking television moment for me and really intensely worked. That all being said, to the caller's question of overall season arc, this is where we go back to repeat myself, what I said a little bit earlier. I think if you combine last week and this week's episode into one episode with a slight longer running time, maybe 65 minutes instead of 60 minutes, you don't have to do a double episode.
Or 80 minutes, yeah.
Or something, you cut just like 20 minutes out between the 2 episodes. And I know what you're going to say, Joe, not just of Catholic, just whatever. Just cutting 20 minutes out of both episodes. You have it. There was room to do it, and make this one episode between these 2. You have a little bit more room for some of the people that might be feeling the way that this caller felt, that the narrative of the first season would have benefited from a little bit more flexibility. So, because as Joe mentioned earlier, I don't necessarily know what this means, but there's some DLC from an Ellie backstory that we might get in a single episode. So that might be this episode 8 might be a whole Ellie backstory episode. So by that thing, would you have rather have this combined in one and have another Joel and Ellie together episode? But we'll see by the end of the episode.
There's so much left in this fucking game that, yes, absolutely, you take out that 20 minutes of fucking Kathleen.
But Joe,
you take that shit out immediately, and you combine the 2 episodes. Absolutely, you give us another episode of far more content.
But Joe, I don't know if I'm right yet, or if we're right yet. We'll get back to this question.
Oh, I know.
We'll get back to this question. Teaser, Joe. Teaser. We'll get
this question has been answered.
We'll get back to this question in our recap of episode 9 when we look back at the final season. Let's keep this question up in the air. So yes, anyone that doesn't know, that might be tuning in right now and be like, what the fuck are you doing this tonight, guys? Absolutely. The episode has already dropped. If you have a chance, go watch it. Come on back.
We hacked HBO, and Phil and I watched the show early.
Yeah, we did.
We're trying to get out ahead of it.
And we distributed it to everybody else.
Everybody in the world.
We're the ones
to do it on HBO's platform.
Exactly.
but
we're the ones
we did it
responsible for it. Yeah, HBO gave us the keys to run the kingdom, and we decided to release it on fucking Friday. So let's get to our next voicemail. We got a couple more voicemails, and then we'll get into our recap. This is from again our good buddy, The Walking David.
Okay, I've expressed it before, but I've got to say it again. There is zero part of me, absolutely stone cold fuck none, that liked anything to do with fucking Kathleen. Just everything about her was fucking terrible. And in both episodes, it doesn't make any sense why anybody would.
Joe's like, now,
this is
a professional filmmaker speaking. Shush, Phil. I don't want to hear it, theater guy. Keep your mouth shut. A filmmaker's talking. Go back to the stage, douchebag.
Follow this lazy bitch around just because she was wrong. You're telling me that in the 20 years that this world's existed, that none of these more badass dudes that are just like taking it like a bitch from this woman have been wronged? They haven't had their wives killed, their kids killed, or anything like that, or had to kill their own brother or sister or anything.
That also
nope, it's just Kathleen. We're with you. Fucking why? What do you need this bitch for?
Well, they told us. They told us, David, and it's because
fucking terrible.
She got change. She made change happen. Her rage and revenge lust, right? That's what got the revolution won and won Kansas, Killer City. It's freedom.
Going to Kansas City, gonna kill some doctors down there. That's right. Going to Kansas City, gonna murder everyone until I do what I want. Well, that kind of stuff, Sorry, let's get back to David.
Oh, I felt safe in the room because it was like shut the fuck up. Like, nobody gives two fucks. And then
yes.
Like Joe said, I mean, the part where she's like slowly talking to him, like the moment he stepped out behind the car, based on how she was talking, she should have shot him on sight.
Yep.
Okay.
Boom. Done.
And then we could find out about the bite later on, in terms of like what worked narratively for the show. I'm fine with how it went, okay, because I didn't play the game or anything, so I don't know how that shit goes. But I'm just saying.
Can you pause it for a second?
There's too much.
Yeah, I like David's idea. This is where it goes from there, right? Dude steps out from behind the car, and she immediately stops talking and puts one in his head. Joel immediately puts one in her head, right? She puts one in Henry's head. Joel immediately puts one in her head. The shit goes down with all the fucking runners. The two kids end up getting away. Sam does get shot. Sam does get bit, right? And like in the morning, Joel puts Sam down in front of Ellie, right? Or even that night says something to Ellie about him being bit and puts one right in his head, right? Just like he says anyone would do if they find out you're fucking bit.
Luna.
That's exactly what should have happened. He told her, anybody finds out you're bit, they're going to shoot you right in the head. They're not going to ask any questions. They're not going to wait to find out you're fucking immune. They're just going to fucking kill you. So you kill off Henry, and then this kid walks out, and she's like, hey, Joel, he's bit. And he goes, boom, fucking pops the kid right in the fucking face, done, and says, that's what I told you would happen, Ellie. Don't tell anybody you've been fucking.
That is good, Joe and David. And I'm going to get back to David's message in a second, but I want to get to one of our channel members who asked a question. Thank you so much, Luna, for being a channel member. As you can see, she got a little picture of Lotus next to her face as a badge for being a channel member, and you can use special emojis. I occasionally do unique streams from my phone and random other stuff. Thank you so much to our channel members that help us keep doing this. But to get to your question, is the actress, and I think Joe and I have different answers for this one.
It's both.
Is it the actress Kathleen or the character Kathleen that's not working for you? For me, I just don't like the actress that they cast for it. I'm not saying she couldn't play a good roles. Someone said she's in Yellow Jackets and she's good, and I've seen her obviously.
Yeah, she's in 2.5 Men and she's good.
And she's good. There's a clash with the character versus what's going on screen right now. There's many other actors I could think that could have been better in this particular role, this kind of character. I can think of a bunch that I would have rather. There are many amazing working actresses that I think could have done this a little bit better and added a little bit more texture to it. That I think that could have gone beyond the dialogue and gone beyond it and really depicted it in a proper way. And I just think it did. For me, it's 100% the actress. I just don't like her performance.
I think it's both. I think it's the writing and the actress, and part of why it's the writing is because of the actress they chose. And so online this week there was a little back and forth. Someone mentioned something about her size not fitting a 20-year apocalypse and food shortages.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. Fuck that.
And no, but I do give a shit about that because that's world building. And the response given was, it shows that my character is, lap of luxury, is fed, is one of the more privileged characters in this place. And that makes it, and after reading that, and I know that's an actor's take on their character, but this is discussed between the entire production crew, and that's the party line, so to speak, for the production. Okay, now here, that being the case, knowing that and hearing that, all it makes me say is all these fucking people around who are following this rageful, revengeful person over the murder of people in her family, over the people in all those other families, making them go out and risk their lives for this revenge trip of hers, right? Makes it even less believable, because I'm looking at her saying, why is she so well fed and me and my family have been starving, and now because her family's dead, I got to go out and possibly die, leaving my family to starve even more?
So Joe,
what the fuck?
Good points as always, Joe, to go into the live chat.
So it's both. It's both the character and the writer.
John says the character. Puzzle says actress. Wolf says both. Laura says both. Hey, everybody in the chat. Has everyone in the chat been tested? Yeah, we've been tested to be monsters we very possibly could be. Let's listen to the end of David's message, then we get a couple more voicemails, and then we're going to get into our recap. So here we go.
Stammering around and waiting, and the moment you hear that sound and something comes up, why the fuck are you standing there? You should be bolting for the hills.
Listen, Mahomes might be one of the greatest characters. Mahone
ever in this.
I was talking about Mahone. But Mahone is Mahone from Prison Break.
Get the fuck out of the way before this monster that's coming up from the ground will come towards you. And why did that soldier look to her and go you run?
I don't know, David, but where is Lincoln Burrows? That was a great fucking question,
and then
David.
Shoot his last 2 bullets.
Yeah, it's great.
Why didn't you run too, dude?
Are they in love? Is he her dad? What the fuck is their relationship?
Oh my
he just
God!
There
right, brother's lover.
Didn't use any other military tactics other than shoot giant thing, let thing rip off face. I mean, God, it was fucking terrible. Tracy, I love your messages. You're so fucking wrong, though, about Kathleen. She's the Tara of The Last of Us. I'm glad she's dead. Back to the show.
I'm glad she's dead, and I hope she burns in hell. I also want to mention, if for whatever reason I miss your live motherfucking chat and you want to get a text message in and you don't want to call in, you can also text that number, 781-990-8509. You can see it on the screen as well, 781-990-8509. So speaking of that, Joe, we have a text. And it says, it's from area code 859, how many times could Joel have shot this bitch Kathleen while she is pontificating to everybody? That is an interesting point that we talked about a little bit earlier, and we'll talk about in the recap too, but we'll bring it up right now. That was one of the moments in the episode where I was wondering, just from a logical standpoint, why didn't he not shoot her right there?
Was jammed.
His gun
was jammed. Didn't his gun jam at some point?
Oh no, I don't remember that.
What's the difference between jelly and jam?
You Lone Star. Someone has jammed the radar. There's only one man.
Your gun doesn't jelly. It's jam.
There's only one man that will dare give me the raspberry. Lone Star. Okay, so yeah, Patrick Mahomes from Prison Break. Next voicemail. This is from area code 516 from Anthony.
Hey, Anthony from New York again. I just another thing I wanted to say about this episode that was on my mind that I don't know if you guys addressed yet is the performances. I thought Henry and Sam were fantastic. Pedro was always Pedro, and Kathleen's performance. I think we all know what that is. Bella Ramsey, man, I was not into the casting initially, like a lot of people, and just like how she looks. I knew her from Game of Thrones. So I was like, man, she has a really heavy accent. That went away in the first episode. I was like, all right, the accent's fine. She sounds like American. But man, she's doing really great. I don't know how you guys feel. I think the last time I listened to Joe's take on her, I don't know if he was still negative on her or not. I can't remember, but I think she is just fan-fucking.
Great message, and I'll say
that's a good point, Puzzle Cat.
She was really, really good in this episode. Even just in a passive line, like, that's just Joel. He has resting asshole face. I forgot what the line was, but it was really well delivered.
He just always sounds like an asshole.
Yeah, he just always sounds like an asshole. That was probably one of my favorite scenes of the episode. And to your point, Joe, about the tension and the pacing and all of that, I can't argue with that, but I don't have the reference. So to me, it seems like it's a slower character piece with a backdrop of an apocalypse. And I like all the slow business that goes on. That being said, like we were saying, going into this series, I expected to feel tension for 9 episodes. 9 episodes of constant tension of being trapped in this world where it's overwhelmed by these monsters.
And that's the way it should be. You should feel this. It's not just overwhelmed by these monsters, though. You are also overwhelmed by bad forces of people.
And right now, Joe.
And you don't really feel that.
And right now it feels a little bit like when they're out in the world, like they're in an open world video game where there's nothing in the hub world, and when they get to each location, it opens up the area. So it has that kind of vibe to it. So the open world feels very just like, oh, Link, dun 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 dun. He's getting to Gerudo Village, dun 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 dun. He's getting to the Great Dooku Tree, dun 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 dun. Ganon's castle time. So instead of feeling like they're constantly,
I want to go back to that other village to get some more acorns.
Exactly. That being said, every bit of business has been awesome for me, minus Kathleen. But like the casting and the acting and all the performances, as the caller said, the performances of Henry and Sam were amazing. The actor that plays Sam, if he's really, really, like, it doesn't even matter.
He is really deaf. Yes.
Well, whether he was or he wasn't, that was an incredible acting performance by that kid tonight. He killed it. He made me care about him. Both those characters, especially the kid, made me care about him, not because he was deaf and had leukemia, but because the actor played it well and made himself memorable. And
I want to say this. Yes, I believe you. I agree with you there. However, I think if they had the deaf part doesn't bother me at all, like I said, but the leukemia part does. And I wish they had still made the brother a little bit more of
Henry.
They changed the dynamic because he was part of a traveling group going somewhere that when they got to the city was attacked by all these people too. So the relationship between Sam and Henry is more, no, you only carry what we need. We survival. We got to pay attention. We got to be alert. And because they softened up a little bit of their background with this kid having health issues, has taken that dynamic away. So I almost felt a little more for the character in the video game because he didn't have these hardships, and yet hardships are being imposed upon him at such a young age that we're actually seeing. And yes, we're seeing them in this game too, in this show too, with he went from, getting the medicine and living some sort of life in Kansas City there, and now he's on the run. But you don't get any kind of feeling. I mean, it goes to show a little bit more why Henry does what he does at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But that still played really fucking well in the game, and I almost felt a little. I don't want to say I did feel more for him, but I almost maybe it's because of that he's just being dragged around.
I thought, and
It's not. It almost puts it like this. Even though Henry makes these decisions, it's Sam's fault they're in this position because he was the one that had leukemia. He was the one that made Sam make those decisions.
But one thing I like about their relationship is I like how there's a sense of deception between the two of them, where Henry Sam understands more than Henry tells him. Henry tells him the things he thinks he wants to hear. Things are okay. They're gonna follow us. They're gonna come with us. He projects a lot through him.
And what if he doesn't come back?
Exactly.
And then like the next morning, or the next day, he didn't come back. Yeah, he's probably.
But I do have to applaud both of the actors and I'll say the same thing in episode 3 as well for Nick Offerman and the actor that played the other character, Frank. It's tough to come in one episode. Quantum Leap pulled it off a lot really well. To come in one episode and make you care about the character and have that kind of outcome.
That's because they took the time with that episode. They gave that story a full episode.
Fair. But that being said, if you were going to do 2 episodes like they did, I wish in retrospect, again, I hate doing this. This isn't what we do here usually, the rewrites, but I'm going to rewrite it a little bit again and say, if you're going to do 2 episodes, I would have liked Sam and Henry to have been more of a part of the first episode.
Yep.
Get to know them a little bit more. Even take a little bit of time away from Kathleen and her crew, and equal time that you have with Ellie and Joel. You need to keep that time with them, but you can take a little bit of that time away from the half of their scenes, the one half, to focus on setting up the dynamic between the brothers in episode 1, and then you can have more action in episode 2.
Yep.
And it makes the payoff at the end of episode 2, which
that
was
much
intense,
more dramatic.
which was intense and really did make me feel more. But if I'd known these characters for 2 episodes instead of 1 episode, I would have cared that much more. So
and they wasted that time on fucking Kathleen. They still gave us the 2 episodes, but they wasted that time on Kathleen. Take that out. Let us see her barking orders. We can know that she's fucking in charge to set up her big fucking monologue at the car with the bloater. We can set that up by doing exactly what you did, having him look out a fucking window or Joel look out a fucking window.
Joe, there lies the problem.
2 or 3 times to bark orders at all these fucking soldiers.
There lies the problem, because in last week's episode they spent a big chunk of the episode establishing her as a character and that whole dynamic. For good or for bad, whether you didn't like it, for good or for bad, someone liked it. I've had somebody like it.
Yeah, I know exactly who liked it. Fucking
wait.
Chris fucking Hardwick loved it and thought it was brilliant.
Probably.
And the producers are just they're so good, and they can do no wrong.
They want to do the talking Last of Us. But basically, whether you like it or not, in my mind, I wish in retrospect, because tonight's episode, the payoff was so fucking good that it would have meant that much more if Henry and Sam were big parts of last week's episode too. That's okay. But again, that's my opinion. Yes, Joe's in full on rant mode tonight, folks.
I'm sorry. Gotta tell it like I see it, like I feel it, like I saw it. There's no other. That's the truth. That's the truth of it. They wasted fucking time. If you really think about what you got from Kathleen, what they gave you from Kathleen, there was nothing in it that wasn't a cliche, fucking overdone, played out fucking scene. There really wasn't.
Fair.
There really wasn't.
No,
Each and every single one of her scenes was exactly
fair
that.
enough.
Cliche and
But
out.
My point is, whether you like it or not, I feel like an even distribution of getting a few Henry and Sam scenes in last week's episode helps make the emotional payoff that much more effective.
And we could have gotten that. We could have, if we had gotten that instead of it would have been much better. Like I said, at some point after the 20 minutes after the crash, as they're continuing, running through fucking Kansas City, evading bullets in the occasional walker, which would have been an audience fucking showstopper. Everybody's jaw on the ground. They meet up with Sam and fucking Henry the same exact way they did in the fucking game. It like as a game player and someone who's played it 5 times, it wouldn't have been old to me. That's why I've played it 5 fucking times. It would have been great to see, just like every other moment that I've compared that was scene for scene or word for word from the game has been amazing to me. If they had done that and given us more of Sam and Henry throughout the first episode instead of Kathleen, and bled that through all the way through this episode and took out those Kathleen shits, it would have been much better. And ended it the way I said earlier, with Kathleen shooting that motherfucker in the face, and then Joel
fuck it.
Sam
We're calling HBO. Face. We're calling HBO. No, anyways, let's just get into this. We're gonna keep
Let's re-fucking film these 2 episodes, please, before we move on to season 2.
We're gonna keep this discussion going, keep the Joe rants going, but quickly before it gets too far, let's just do our recap.
So,
one day I'm not going to be able to do that, Joe,
I know. We're getting old, dude. Real quick, Maud Mary. I do want to mention the Hulk in the room. It is kind of like a what the fuck moment. Like, how does one of these people grow and all this? Now, they're supposed to be much more bloated, like they've been sitting in water forever and shit like that. But, like, here's the thing. There are some pretty big dudes and women in this fucking world. And if they were particularly healthy or were able to stay up on their feet for a particularly long time or whatever the case, like given enough time, this fucking fungus has mutated them straight past clicker mode or through clicker mode or some shit like that into this bloater thing. Somehow they have mutated into a different kind of monster. On top of that, in the second game, without spoiling really, there are other creatures that get introduced that are also in the evolutionary process along this fungus human hybrid mix infected thing. So and they do a lot more in the game. They have spore bombs that they kind of throw at you that create a cloud that will kill you. Because you're not wearing a mask during those fights.
Maud Mary asks, are they called bloaters?
They're called bloaters, so we get a real quick scene during that where this bloater grabs some motherfucker and just pulls its fucking head right off.
Clear off.
Obviously, this is not one of the infected that is there to reinfect others. But it is part of this fungus organism and network of communication that is obviously there to protect the others that are there to reproduce the fungus amongst humans. So, and every time that motherfucker gets on you, fucking is able to grab you, it rips your fucking head straight off. Fucking boom, jaw in one, fucking top of the head in the other. It's gruesome. You see Ellie's head or Joel's head get ripped in half. So many fucking
Joe, does this sound trigger you?
Yeah, like, no, well, if you keep a rhythm, Phil, it sounds like you're just trying to play a song.
Is it more random?
And if you do it, if you have a hard time not keeping the random because you're a fucking percussionist.
I do.
Like,
it's trouble.
No, it's not random. Give that shit to me and tell me to keep a beat, and I'll show you a fucking clicker. Give it to you and tell you to pretend to be random with it. It's not gonna work. You're gonna be like 2, 3.
Are you saying my click? Are you saying my
clicker
clicker's too musical? It's too my click is too musical.
It started the first 2 or 3 were good, and then you went right into like.
Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care. I started doing Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care. It got weird.
You're a percussionist. You automatically fall into time.
I have to work.
Give that to me and tell me keep time with this, Joe, and you'll hear the most random ass shit you've ever heard in your life.
Some shit like that. Okay, let's get to a couple of voicemails and go. Well,
Like a fucking Michael J. Fox holding those.
Actually, let me start with the recap here. We open up with a flare and people screaming "Freedom" in Kansas City. Fuck Fedra. The groups took in the city and it's pretty crazy. We get the voice. Kansas City belongs to the people. We get 2 people, adult kids, getting out of the way. We get Kathleen going to see a bunch of people, capturing them. They're the conspirators. This scene could have been intense, could have been emotional, but it was kind of comical. Imagine if this scene was delivered by like Catelyn Stark. I'm going to like the 24 thing, like someone like her.
Now that's a she can throw a revenge speech.
Yeah, if she's given this, that's what I'm saying. It's a character, not the actress, not the character.
And that's also why I'm saying it's both. That's also why I'm saying it's both. Straight up, it's both. Like,
fair, but I'm just saying, imagine this scene with Michelle Farley. Is that her name? What?
Farley?
Something like that. Chris Farley. Chris Farley's cousin. No, Catelyn Stark delivering this speech in some ways, or like an actress on that level, deliver like a dramatic actress, not sort of a comedic kind of thing going on. Anyways, so she says, no one has to die here, but you're all guilty, but no one needs to die.
The soprano mom giving this speech.
Yeah, Carmela.
Not Carmela.
Oh, Nancy Marchand.
Fucking Tony's mom giving this speech. Either the young mother that's throwing shit all the time in the house, or the fucking older mother. Yes.
I don't like how you're talking. This is demented. Okay, so she says where's Henry?
Gotta go, Junior.
I don't know, my son. He's talking to a therapist. Something's got to happen with him. I'm not saying don't talk that way. I don't like that kind of talk. So Henry, sorry, this will turn into a complete Sopranos quote situation.
Oh yeah.
So she basically says, I want to see Henry. Where's Henry? And they say, we don't know Henry. She says, kill them all. And they say, we know where Henry is. He's with the doctor. And that doctor, he's not a dumb fuck like the rest of you.
Trope number 2. Okay, I'll let you go if you talk. Kill him anyway.
Yep. Never talk, just
kill
die.
the talker first.
Yep, 100%.
Like, what the fuck?
Joe, do you know what I think, honestly? Do you know what I think about fucking talkers, Joe? Here we go.
You're a talker.
Yes!
Listening to talkers makes me thirsty. If any more words come pouring out your cunt mouth, I'm gonna have to eat every fucking chicken in this room.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, that's what we think about talkers, Kathleen. That's what the Hound has to think about you.
As he's doing a nice talker little thing before he decides to before he kills everybody in the room. Mountain, I mean, come on, Hound, you should know better than to give a speech before you kill everybody.
I wish the Lord would take me now. Okay.
But that is how we feel about talkers. Good, Phil.
So
I love it.
Thank you, Joe.
I love it.
Thank you for setting that one up for me. Okay, so that was easy. So then we get some banter between her and Perry, her number 1. Kathy Maud Mary, that is an amazing.
Yep.
Fucking
Kathy Bates.
Amazing. Kathy Bates is perfect. That's who it should be.
And again, you want to talk like
Kathy Bates. Done.
What again though?
Fucking
I got to go back to the in that.
Kathy Bates.
Yes.
Kathy Bates pulls off this
role better.
She pulls off this dialogue to a T.
She would have done it so much better, but again, I still wouldn't have been happy with it.
To go to another, Sarah Paulson. Sarah Paulson is another actor. If you don't know who she is, she's on American Horror Story. She's been in a bunch of shit. If anyone doesn't know her, you've seen her in something.
Older blonde.
She's blonde. She was in The People versus OJ. She played the lawyer, Marsha Clark in The Lawyer. She's been in a lot of shit. She is an amazing actress. I think she would have been great in this role. That's what I'm saying, an actress like that. That kind of thing. Oh, poor you, John Haymaker. Poor you. So she calls them rats, and after they tell her what they want, and she tells her number one to kill them, and they go in and they destroy them and kill them. So we go off to Henry and Sam sneaking around. They find a safe spot to talk about finding the tunnels, and we basically get the lead up of them sneaking. We get a little bit of the backstory, the two of them, that I think again should have been in the first episode, but whatever. We just learn more about Henry and Sam. They have a good interaction. I enjoy their performance, the actors' performance, and how they work with each other. I had no problem with any of this. I was watching it all and interested and engaged. We look out the next day and the city is swarming. They need some food at this point. They basically find a hiding spot with the doctor guy, and then we get a passage of time. They don't tell us how much time's passed, but a few days, few weeks, whatever. The doctor's out looking for food. He never comes back. They decide that he's not coming back. They're out of food. They need to head out. So they head out and they're looking around, and then, which I thought was kind of cool, we see that Sam sees Joel's fight from a new perspective. They have a plan to get out of town, and they see how Joel's taken down.
And I really liked that. They should have made, and I really liked him seeing that fight from Joel's perspective, or from the window and stuff.
Yeah, that was done really cool.
However, I gotta say, what the fuck, writers? Like, have him peek through a hole he's taken the entire covering off the window and just like standing in the fucking window with all these guys out fucking running around with guns.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever walked down a street? You can pretty much spot shit like that.
Like in the daytime, you can see right into everybody's fucking house.
Pretty much.
If there's no lights on in that place, absolutely.
Can we just skip the useless Kathleen scenes in the recaps?
Especially if there's lights on.
We will yada yada a lot of this. This shit. They weren't even Puzzle Cat. Exactly what Joe was just saying. They weren't even worried someone would spot them in those huge fucking front windows.
It's unbelievable. Like,
like
he just took like the entire they're already like all holy, and they got the lights on in there, a lantern on at night. So any bit, like, you could, in the dark, which this entire city fucking is, right? In the dark, you can see a light a long distance away. And they got a lantern on in this fucking room. And, like, shitty holes all over those cardboard and everything. Like, that light is shining out like lasers into the
minute you move those blocks, it's gonna be noticeable. And then we also see that Sam is an artist as well, and he drew some.
Oh, and fuck yeah, that too. Like, the whole way the light shines and reflects off the window changes as soon as you remove those cardboards.
Yeah,
that's like a glint that would happen to everybody on the street.
Yeah, it
would be like if you're already on alert for movement and weird things because monsters are going to come and get you. Should be something you notice, even if it's a couple.
You would think. So we go off to Sam and Henry sneaking up on Joel with the glass thing, and we see how useless that whole situation is. They do make some sound, but it doesn't really do anything. I guess it woke Ellie up, and they snuck up on Joel, and it's a good scene where they sneak up and they're like, "Hey, he's gonna
fucking." It's a good scene where they sneak up on and magically find the right floor to get off on a 46-story building.
Hey,
they magically find hours after, or followed closely enough up the stairwell and quietly enough up the stairwell without complaining about being tired or any kind of shit like that, right? Use your inside voices.
They're kids. They've got kid energy, Joe.
Yeah, use your inside voices, Sam.
They know the city. He knows the city. He has an
it was ridiculous. It was absolutely fucking ridiculous. And then tiptoe through all the broken glass. One crunch or two. Neither one of the two primaries there wake up Joel and Ellie. They sleep through. Joel sleeps through Ellie, yelling his name a couple times. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. No, I understand Joel sleeping through that, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, the motherfucker just climbed 33 flights of stairs.
He's deaf.
And he's 56 years old.
And he's almost deaf. He's been firing a lot of guns. Okay, fair, Joe. Every point you make about the ridiculosity of the setup of the scene, you can have that, okay? It was still a fun scene when we got into it with the characters all breaking it down. The whole standoff with the holding the guns and Joel lying down, but can I sit up and be with the asshole voice, Ellie's line about him having an asshole voice. It like all of that stuff worked. Beyond what you're saying in the setup and all of that, for me, the dynamic of the actors pulled off the scene.
Yes, but as I'm watching them pull their foot off the steaming pile of shit to wipe their shoe and move the fuck on, all I'm thinking about is the smell wafting through the air. And don't be an asshole and start pointing at me with the stick when you're done, please.
You're such a douche. Okay, let's listen to a voicemail before we get back to the recap.
That was a good little.
No, it was a good something. I don't know. Fucking don't sniff your own farts too much over there, Dirty Locks. Okay, let's get to.
I have to. That was fun. It makes me that little thing just made me smile. That little.
I don't know if Joel's I don't know if Joel's deaf in one ear, but Joe is a fucking deaf asshole right now.
Douche right now.
But
Joe, come to the Issues program to watch Dirty Locks shit on your favorite shows. That's really what I feel like now. Like I was so pumped for this, and we're only 5 episodes in now.
Joe, we talked about this.
I'm in full shit mode,
dude. Don't get to that point.
I like the show, and I can't wait for next week. But I am in full shit mode right now. They're doing obvious bad fucking moves, like one right after the other. Like, a lot of shit works, and a lot of shit is really good, and I'm still interested. I'm still liking it. It's still enough of my favorite video game story of all time, and all of that to keep me watching. But they are troping us.
Maud Mary says Joe likes to suspend my disbelief. Welcome to my 30-year friendship with Joe. Joe likes to suspend my disbelief. Yeah, welcome to my 30-year friendship with Joe. Okay, so let's.
I am the suspend my disbelief police.
He is the guy. Anyone brings something up in a part, just like, well, let me tell you this. Okay, so everybody, this is area code 916. Everyone relax, and we need a palate cleanser before more Joe rants from the voice of 916.
Hello, Phil. Hello, Joe. This is the voice at 916. I haven't seen the episode yet, but I'm still going to watch your stream. I know the story, so, it'll just be subtle differences, I'm sure.
Oh, you don't know this story.
My question is, when the season is over, will the both of you do a stream on the season review, since we don't have to worry about spoilers, at least up to that point? I'd really like to see an in-depth discussion about it, particularly since you're coming from 2 points of views, one as a game player and one as a show only. That would be really awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And absolutely, we've been talking about that spoiler stream kind of situation. So what I'm going to do, and I'll talk to Tony as well, hopefully when the season is over, Joe and I'll if Tony's available, I'll ask him to jump in too, because I know he's played the game. We'll do a spoiler stream about the game and do sort of a direct one-to-one comparison on season 1. I'm sure a lot of people will be doing breakdown videos like that, but we'll do a full podcast with call-ins and all that kind of stuff with Joe and I. And again, I will try to get Tony to jump on as well for that too, because I know he is a game player as well. Officer Joe, the fun police. So we got a couple more voicemails we'll get to in a little bit, and text messages, but let me get through a little bit more of this recap. So we go off to the dark. The dude was like, we need to talk. And we just have a good little standoff between all of them. They say, we're Henry and Sam. We're the most wanted people in Kansas City, but you're the second, so let's be friends. They get some food. They're like, where'd you get this yummy food? Well, Bill gave it to me. And Joel's just giving them the "I want to kill you" face through the whole time. He's like, "I don't care. We ate dinner. We didn't kill each other. Can you just move on right now?" And we hear a little bit about who Henry is, and he explains he's a Fedra collaborator. He's like, "I'm not working with a collaborator. You're fucking the worst." And then we flash over to to Sam and Ellie bonding and playing and being kids. And Sam is like, I haven't seen that laughing excuse me, I keep mixing up their names. Henry is like, I haven't seen my brother laugh in a long time. And Joel is like, well, fuck it. You can come with us. And we will work together to try to escape the city. Henry shows off his plan, and he says that Kathleen blocks us in, and we gotta get a new actress for this part. No, he says that we can't get through here because she's blocking off all the streets, but we can go through tunnels to get on the other side. And what's the problem? And they set up that Fedra pushed all the infected in the tunnels underground, but the secret that Henry knows that no one else knows is that supposedly Fedra cleared out the tunnels, like they wiped out all the infected down there. So maybe we might have to deal with like one or two, but probably not. They cleared it like 3 years ago, and there were clickers and all sorts of stuff, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
It's a dicey fucking plan, but if they bump into one or two, Joel can handle that. Henry's like, we have no choice. You got to help us out. And they head underground, and Ellie gets her gun out. They head in the tunnels. We see some artwork on the walls. They ultimately find like a settlement underground. They don't bump into any infected, as far as I remembered. I kind of zoned out at this part of this was the part of the episode, for whatever reason, I started to zone out for a second. And Henry and Joel explore. Then they get into this little bunker area where people lived underground, and they're looking at a comic book. Henry gives some ideas about how they can handle out. Joel is like, I don't know. They just keep talking back and forth, and they tell the story. Sam tells Joel the story about how the kid had leukemia and had to work for Fedra.
He got his magic pill.
Yeah, and he got the magic pill that the Dr. McCoy magic pill that cures leukemia, and because of that, he had to kill a big, important, great man, a resistance leader.
Give up the location of, or
yeah. Joe was like, I don't work with rats. Yeah, that's basically what he said. And it ended up being Kathleen's brother, and that's why she has a blood feud to kill Henry at all costs.
Was it brother?
Brother, yes. So would you have a blood feud if someone killed your brother?
Yes.
Absolutely. So you can relate to Kathleen.
No.
Well, I don't know what just fell. I tried to Jedi.
Here's the thing. Somebody kills my brother, I could blood feud for that. If my brother is a revolutionary, even if it's the side of righteousness revolutionary, right? And gets killed during that revolutionary action, I'm not blood feuding with whoever killed them.
Right.
If I send my son out to go, or my nephew, or whoever that kid ended up was to her, to go do ambushes on the roadside or hunt down people with his guns, and he gets shot and killed, I'm not blood feuding over that shit. Like, that was theirs decision.
He made his situation, so he's playing in the game. It's like if you're
right, you play in you play the game.
If your brother went in and played a live version of Squid Game and died there, you're not going to seek revenge against the company because he chose to go play Squid Game.
Correct.
Essentially. Laura says, if someone kills my brother, I would not go after them. I do not wish to become like them. And Conan says, this is why his acting is too good. He has so many similarities with the game. The comic book Savage Starlight is in the game as well. Has anyone ever been to Kansas City? Not hard to escape there. Yes, and Sam is deaf in real life, which is either way, like I said, the actor delivered an amazing performance. So Henry calls him out calls Joel out on having a kid before. And over to Kathleen and the dude. Well, let me see. Oh, sorry. Excuse. My camera's all fucked up for a second. Give me a second to fix it. Whoops. Oh wait. Oh, there's my. So then we get this whole setup. I was like, what fell down? I didn't know what fell down, and then I realized it was my camera. Let's put this back on. Oh, whoa. I'm a little lower. Joe, you have to look at my chest a little bit. Sorry. So let's get into a couple more voicemails that we have in text messages first. 859. I don't know if Joe is there. Tell Joe we vape. He doesn't need to hide. I think Joe is just likes to do his vaping on his own.
I don't vape.
Or whatever. You're spraying your incense. Or
I lost something I cannot find.
Okay. Well, should we play music while you look?
My sandwiches.
Oh, Joe lost some sandwiches. Oh no, let's play Joe music. While Joe looks for some. Let's play Joe music while Joe looks.
The fucking gnomes ran off with that sandwich.
Oh no, Joe lost his sandwiches. No, Joe lost his sandwiches.
Like, I don't understand it.
Joe lost his sandwich. Joe
There's
lost
a full
Joe
submarine.
lost his sandwich.
A full submarine
Joe
sandwich
lost- Joe
just fell on the
lost
floor and disappeared.
Ooh. Did the cat steal Joe's fucking sandwich? Did the cat steal the sandwich? Did it roll underneath something? Where the fuck is Joe's fucking sandwich? Joe goes, where's the fucking sandwich? Joe goes,
Where did my
where's the
fucking sandwich go?
Where's Joe? Joe's fucking sandwich. Everybody wanna know what Joe's sandwich. Gotta fucking find Joe's sandwich. Okay, sorry about that, everybody.
Where's my sandwich at?
So Joe's looking. Let's go to our next text message. Mad Sinister says, I got a question for Joe.
I got an answer for you.
I'm going to leave it as vague as possible since it's from the game. Only gamers will know what it is. How excited are you for an intense scene involving Fire and Ellie? I also wished on The Talking Dead a zombie would bite Chris Hardwick. Joe.
I can't wait for that. Hopefully they do it right. And what was the second part?
He wished that Chris Hardwick was eaten by a zombie on The Talking Dead.
Yes, we all wish for that.
Yeah. If you can look
Actually, you know what? I don't. Chris Hardwick
No, he seems
that would have given him a wet dream. That would have been like, oh, can we have me attacked on the last episode of The Talking Dead? Can we have me get attacked by a?
Oh, that'd be great.
Right
I'd be like turned, and that way, when we come back and do the Rick and Michonne show, I could like be a zombie.
I could do it in zombie form.
That'd be amazing. Oh, points.
See, we should be writers. We should be in the fucking room.
We need to write something. Okay, so we'll get to our voicemails in a second, buddy. At 773.
Fucking sandwich.
Joe's got to look for his sandwich, and I'll get into a little bit of a recap here. Okay, a wet dream, Mad Sinister. Kathleen and the dude are like, we haven't found them. She's like, oh, we gotta find them. And she tells a story, and I kind of zoned out, I can't lie. But she says, I can't forgive, dude. My brother was great, and blah, 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 blah. And then her number one says, your brother was great, but you liked change stuff. You're like important and stuff. And your brother, he was like important, but like you're more important because you change stuff. You like murder doctors, and you murder people. You're special because you actually fuck Charlie Sheen. Like there's something special about you.
Murdered Charlie Sheen too, right? Murdered
murdered Charlie Harper. So anyways, no, all jokes aside, they get out free. She shows why she can't forgive, and Duda's like, your brother's great, but you're great. And then...
But you're even greater.
Eli wants them coming. She starts firing on them. They're blocked in. Okay, so then we get to our action situation. Joel is sneaking around, killing them as she eventually trusts him, and Joel's got... oh, no. Okay, so they're walking upon something, and then someone starts shooting upon them. They get on the other side. They get out from underground on the other side that they're going. Someone starts firing a sniper rifle at them, and Joel's like, whoever it is, it kind of sucks. I don't know who this person is, but they kind of suck. And Joel sneaks in behind them, and it's some old dude, and Joel is like, drop your gun, get the fuck out of here, don't do it. And then we cut away and don't see the exchange. They don't shoot the action. They just give us they cut away. We hear a gunshot, and we see that Joel obviously killed this guy and got his sniper rifle. And but he hears a radio call that says Kathleen is almost there because this guy's a lookout and he's seen them. So he's already called in Kathleen. So her and her crew are on the way. And here we go.
We already recapped through the tunnel?
Yeah, the tunnel was nothing, Joe. What else happened in the tunnel?
They played soccer. They looked at a picture on the wall.
Yep.
That was a note from, I don't know. They talked. Oh, right. We talked about what they talked about.
Yeah, they
when I was
talked.
looking for my sandwich.
Yeah, it was when you were looking for your sandwich. They basically just talked. There was nothing, like no action, nothing of worth note other than they found a little bunker that Joel said, who knows what happened to the people. The kids bonded on comic books and sports, and then they headed out on the next day.
Right.
So then we get an action scene of the three running.
And this is great.
From this point on in the episode, it's great.
So, well, in the game, a
It's
little
great.
bit right before this part, and we're in town. Okay, so, and we're in town here. You search through a couple of houses, and there's like small talk and talk about ice cream trucks and what happened, life was like before the outbreak, Harley Davidsons and super motorcycles and shit, right?
I like ice cream trucks.
Yep. And the kids find it weird that like they just drove around to deliver ice cream, but they also play darts. Like they find a dartboard and a couple darts get thrown, and when this action sequence pops up, so there's a little bit, you have to kill a few guys on the way to the back of that house, whether you choose the right side of the street, the left side of the street, or just to clear the whole street if you had it on easy. Like you got to clear a lot of guys to get to the back of that house. So there's a little bit more action involved in the game, but they did this really well, and it gave me gameplay tingles when they hid behind that car. And
yeah, Joe, I don't want to be a 80s movie action junkie kind of vibe type thing, but from this point on in the episode, everything was perfect.
Everything goes good.
Everything was perfect. It was so fucking perfect.
No, what? No, there's a lot that's not perfect.
I loved
the trope. You loved the trope. The bad guy.
Tropes are tropes for a reason. Cliches are cliches.
Tropes because they're
cliches are cliches for a reason. When it works, it works. I don't care.
They're cliches because.
Oh, you're just a whiny little gamer. You whiny gamer.
Listen, cliches are cliches because there's truth in those cliches, right? This is a trope that's different, right? That's different. This trope is it's done. It's the bad guy making their speech before they get killed, and the good guy finally kills them and saves everybody's life, or does the wonderful
Yeah, but it was entertaining. Shut your fucking brain off for a second and accept the schlock.
Do it my way.
They're not listening to you.
Do it my way.
They're not fucking listening to you.
I described, and it works even better.
Fair.
Okay. It's a much
I'm not going to say Joe isn't
world than you thought.
I'm not going to say Joe isn't always right, but it was fun. It was fun schlock. Enjoy the fucking ride.
No, so the action parts were all good, but once you get to that, I'm going to talk to you, and you're even going back on your own thing, like they were 2 feet away from her, and he's
they were. It was ridiculous. Action schlock is entertaining.
No,
ridiculous can be entertaining.
That is dumb fucking, I'm going to give the speech before you kill me.
And that's not what happens in every fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's fucking action schlock.
And it's been done to death.
Give
me something else.
Every story's been done to death. It's how you do it. And I thought they did it well.
No, as soon as he came out from behind they didn't do it well. They should have. They plow through everything. All these fucking cars. Just run through them. Get in there. We know they're in there. And stop. Everybody get out. Stop. Freeze everybody. Nobody advance any further.
You didn't have fun at the end of this episode?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it
that's all.
So
that's what I'm saying. Did you have fun,
No,
Joe Dirty Locks?
Joe
Dirty Locks, did you have fun?
From this point on was perfect, and I'm saying no.
Gene Siskel, did you have fun watching the movie?
I enjoyed what was to come after they got behind that car and the sniper thing, and Joel getting a hold of that gun, and then plowing down the street. I enjoyed all of this.
It
All
was
of this I
fun.
enjoyed until the Kathleen speech. If that was the only part of Kathleen opening her mouth we got from the introduction of Kansas fucking City, I'd have been far, far more okay with how this kind of played out. But we had all those other moments with her that were still exactly
As
just
Mon
as
Mary
fucking
says.
bad guy tropey. Everything that we got from her was the complete bad guy trope, right? And I'm sorry, this was another example. You could have changed up that trope and given us something a little better at the end instead of just the walkers coming out. If he had fucking, if she had shot him right in the face, like you said, as soon as he stood up from behind that car, and then if Joel, like I said, shot her in the face, and then just as the chaos is about to continue to ensue with everybody shooting at Joel, those fucking walkers pop out of the street. So Joel's a forgotten about thing. The two kids run off. As soon as he tells fucking her, I'm bit, Joel shoots him in the face when she comes out and says he's bit. And then she can fucking opine over whatever and then get over it. Oh, why couldn't I have just given him some of my blood? That's not how shit works, Ellie. If that's how shit works, that would have been done years ago with the first person they ever found that was bit that didn't turn.
Okay,
you ain't gonna be the first, and you probably won't be the last, but you're the only one right now.
Woo, woo, woo! The trope police officer Joe Dirty Locks is in
that
fucking
shit
town.
Didn't work, and that shit hasn't worked in movies and TV for me
Woo,
in a long
woo,
fucking time. And if you've seen any one of these programs that you all in the chat even also fucking called out when I said too earlier, then this shit shouldn't have played for you either. This shit should have been just like another boring ass moment that you have seen with a different fucking skin on it.
I'm sorry, by the way, if we've been a little extra loud today. I just realized that my mixing board was like set to crazy loud, so I apologize if for whatever reason we were extra loud volume-wise tonight. Up until this point, I just turned it down to normal level, so I don't know. Were we too loud, or did you guys adjust the volume? Were we feedbacking?
Adjusted theirs. Probably.
I think she knew it wasn't gonna work deep down. Laura says, Joe, 10 hours later, still going. Keep those showrunners honest, Joe. Don't give it up. Brian says, I wish I had money to donate. Sad. We appreciate all of our donators that help us keep doing this. It's tough times, and I appreciate every single super chatter or our channel members or our patrons that help us keep doing this. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, Robin Thrifts, those are in the game, and they are boss level fuckers. They'll rip your fucking head off just like that. I could see as
Joe, if you've seen one vagina, you've seen them all.
No, true,
Joe.
So, like, if you like that trope, this was for you. But
all I'm saying, Joe, what I'm saying is tropes exist in every single show and every single dynamic. To me, it's not.
They don't have to.
It's not necessarily if they do the trope; it's how they do it.
This wasn't done any different, and that trope is never done any different. It's always the bad guy speech. Something happens that the good guy gets out of their chains and ropes and death trap and goes and fucking kills the bad guy somehow. Whatever it is, whether it's the John Wick sniper shoots the pillow next to his head so the assassin doesn't kill him in his sleep.
If you guys disagree with Joe or agree with Joe, call on in at 781-990-8509. We'd love to hear your comments, especially if you disagree with Joe. I'd really love to hear you. Or bring it on, 781-990-8509. We always know that Joe is always right. Let's continue with this recap in this perfect...
I may not always be right, but I'm seldom wrong.
50% of the time, Joe. As we get an action scene of the three of them running, Joel is sniping and the truck's chasing after them as Ellie runs out, and Ellie does the stupidest thing in the world. She pulls her little gun out and tries to shoot a big giant truck. But a bunch of other trucks come in as Joel shoots the driver as he's about to get Ellie. We get again another kind of tropey kind of thing where they're about to get Ellie and Joel shoots him at the last minute.
Able to get that good shot through the window.
Then,
a better shot than the sniper that was up there.
And then Kathleen starts walking towards where Henry is, and then we get I want to argue with Joe. I have fun with it, but this was kind of cheesy where she starts talking to Henry and Henry is in a car.
Like all of the soldiers, they're on hunt and kill mode, and all of them just pile out of the car and stop. Like nobody decides to run up behind the car that they all know he's ducked behind and just drag them all the fuck out.
And I forgot to mention, I don't know if I just skipped over it, but oh no, it's coming up here. So Kathleen starts walking towards Henry, and he says, "Let the kids go, and I'll come out." She says, "Nope, you guys all have to die." I don't know.
Why did the truck explode?
Because it's television and it crashed.
Because they always fucking explode. The driver got shot, it crashed into a fucking wall, and the whole fucking truck explodes.
Joe, do you want to tell
the back of the garbage, it was a garbage truck, right? It looked like a garbage truck to me. The back of it completely burned away. Did
Joe, in fairness, it's just one of those television movie things. It was
kind of stupid.
Just to tell another true story, Joe Dirty Locks and I were in a car. Our friend, our often talked about third member of our group, Nick, bought a car that he was going to use to drive cross country the next day. I was going to be going with him. And we decided to try out the car that he had just bought. And we drove around, probably a little bit more reckless than we should have.
Dirt road at like 60 miles an hour.
I was going to undersell it, Joe, but yeah, that's probably what was going on. I'll end it there. So we ended up going back to where my house was, and we pulled in front of my house, or a few blocks from my house on my street. And
we were right in front of your house.
We're close. We're a little further down the road. So probably by the Mick Squiggs house. We're closer to that. I remember this clearly. So we were in the car just talking. We weren't doing anything else in the car. We were just talking, and we start to notice that there's some flames. A couple of like fireballs shooting from the car, from the under the hood of the car, and it continues and then gets more fiery and more fiery. And then we realize we're in a car that's on fire. We were also with these two gentlemen, Charlie and Timmy, and the five of us panically ran out of the car and sprinted down the street into the park, thinking that the car would explode. And we called the fire department. And I would say a good 45 minutes or so went before the fire department got there, put out the fire and all that. And the car did not explode. It did, and when we got there, we were like, we're afraid of the car. And they were like, no, that's not going to happen.
Cars don't explode.
It would have to get to the gas tank for it to explode, and the fire was in the engine. So, I mean, cars could explode if fire hit the gas tank in the right way, but just because you see it, and to be honest with you, by the end, the whole under the hood was on fire for a while.
Yeah.
For a while, it was like burning up. We were in the park watching it.
The cement underneath the car after the car had been removed was melted.
Through. Yeah. I love that you're here for stories like this, because I tell stories like this and people think I'm making them up, but no. And then later that evening, or earlier in that evening, Nick and I were in Lynn talking to our friend Mary, picking up a pizza. And there was a car on fire on Timpson as well that same night. It was weird. It was like one of those nights where we saw multiple cars on fire on the same evening. Imagine if Michael Bay was on set, Fandom D Saint, there were explosions.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so Kathleen looks at him and she's like, it ends today. She's about to shoot. He steps out. He's like, fuck it, I'm coming out. And she gives a look like, there you are. It's over. And she's about to shoot him. She aims her gun. She's got her gun aimed at him, locked and loaded, ready to shoot.
No, wait, let's go over this. She gives her little speech about, didn't you ever think that, like, he was supposed to die? He's just a kid.
Oh yeah, about how they got the cure to leukemia. Yeah. So the kid.
So your child with leukemia, your younger brother with leukemia, you thought he was more important than my brother who's in his fucking 40s?
Yeah.
Sorry. You obviously think your brother in his 40s was more important than my brother with his leukemia, so go fuck yourself, you cunt.
Yeah, there was some...
like, and you think that revenge for your revolutionary brother dying is more important than all these soldiers' lives here.
No, her and her number one are kind of cunts. Like her and that other dude, like the way they're rationalizing everything they're doing, both of them, her and that dude, are both kind of cunts.
Yep.
So Joseph says, Joseph, great to see you in the live chat. Just prior to her speech, she twirled her mustache, literally.
Yep.
Luna, we have so many stories that we don't. We try to litter them in here and there. I've been trying to think of a podcast idea or an audiobook where we could tell all of our stories, Joe. But
I don't think that
Joe doesn't want
all We have to make sure we consult a lawyer before we
statute of limitations
might not apply for some.
We didn't kill anybody. Statute of limitations, Joe. We do. We'll say this. There's no murder in our background. There's statute of limitations for certain stuff, and we could just fake it. You know, I'd say as time goes on, if you listen to our early podcasts, like 10 years
You'd be
ago,
putting rappers in jail for their lyrics.
But we talk very fictitiously before. We're a lot more whatever now as we're closer to death. We're just like, whatever, yeah, whatever. We're going to die soon anyway. We don't give a fuck. It's okay. It's okay. Who cares at this point? You know what I mean? Okay, so let's get into the live chat. Stan is saying, what is life? Yeah, one bastard. Yeah, Kathleen, what is it? But Joe at 40 years old, brother, was leading a resistance while that little kid barely knew how to draw. Kathleen does the bad guy about to kill their target, but does everything else they can to not pull the trigger and stalls forever. And
Yup. They're all right there. They're all right there. Nobody circles around the car.
And oh no, Joe, Laura.
It's like stage set. It's almost like everybody had their stage mark, stand on it. Everybody's got their X. Everybody knows where to go. Nobody passed this line. You're all on that side of the stage. Like
Joe,
it really looked fucking. It didn't have any kind of real feel to it.
Joe, in two situations, we're all right. We got Joseph in the live chat who says, hey, got a lawyer right here in the chat. I got you guys, pal. And then Laura says, I work in the criminal justice department. I should leave this chat right now.
See, Phil? Both sides right there.
Yeah, see?
Both sides agreed with me.
See, we're in a weird situation here, Joe. We gotta be careful. We're gonna walk this line, Laura. She's a channel member too. Let's move on. So she's about to shoot him, and we hear like a banging sound. I talked about this earlier, Joe, and we do have voicemails. Please keep calling in 781-990-8509. As soon as we're done here with this recap, we'll get to all of your voicemails before we call this an evening. Joe, she's about to shoot the dude. You're in Kathleen's position. I'm your nemesis. I kill Katie. I killed fucking Katie at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse to save my fucking life. I fucked with you. You're pissed at me. You're angry. You're a
Was Katie off doing some revolutionary shit when you did this?
No, I just killed her for the fuck of it to save Lotus. To save my dog.
Well, that doesn't fly with Katie.
Actually, Katie would sacrifice herself to save Lotus. Yeah, that's true. Yes. Okay, so to save my...
I don't buy your story, Phil. I'm coming after you.
Look at you. You're trope policing my fucking what if, you douchebag.
That's not in Katie's character. I'm coming for you, Phil.
Okay, so I have a fictitious brother, and I kill Katie to save Nick. So in this situation, you want to kill me. You have me at gunpoint. Do you pull the fucking trigger?
I don't have you at gunpoint.
Okay, you're choking me.
No, because you're already shot.
Right, I'm already dead. Can you play with...
If you point a gun at somebody, you pull the trigger.
Right.
That's my position. Like, if you have made me pull a gun out and point it at you, my finger is being...
Someone pulled a quote from me. There's a quote in some movie or TV show that goes something like, when someone it's Roadhouse. When someone pulls a gun, it's Sam Elliott in Roadhouse. When someone pulls a gun on you, you got two choices: die or kill the motherfucker. So it's like, so ultimately, Joe, what I'm saying is you're sitting there with a gun on me. If the zombies or monsters bust out of the ground in like Heart Home like style, in that one
So
moment,
if you already do these things that you would never
don't you pull the
do,
trigger and kill me?
That's just it, Phil. It doesn't get to the point where I'm giving evil bad guy speech while I'm talking you out from like a closet or from behind a car, especially if I have people on my side. I'm
already
just walking
dead.
back
I'm
there
already
and dragging
dead.
your ass out. You're already dead, right? Like, okay, everybody, he's hiding behind that car right there. Did you hear his voice? Everybody shoot. Everybody shoot. Don't stop shooting.
No, Joe. He had the projection voice skill that he learned from Looney Tunes cartoons.
Right, but they were still all just facing the right direction, talking to that car.
But Joe, again, to go the other side, because I love this fucking episode. Right at this point, the ground busts open.
See, what should have happened?
Wait.
What should have happened? No. What should have happened at this point, while she's giving her little fucking twirly stash speech, is she should have someone in the back should have been like, "Can you hurry this along? My wife's got dinner on the fucking table back in Kansas City. I haven't been home in 10 fucking days hunting down this motherfucker. Can you please fucking shoot him?
Now.
So we can all go the fuck home and enjoy this freedom you got us, you fucking daft cunt."
Joe, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. So we see... Sorry. I'm sorry. That was stupid. Okay, so we see maybe Kathleen doesn't know how to shoot a gun.
We saw her shoot the doctor.
Oh, she did shoot the doctor. Yeah, shit. Okay, so we see a shit ton of infected, and this is when shit really starts to happen. Fuck you and your motherfucker, Joe. I love this part. All the fucking zombies or the monsters pile out of the hole.
And so to go to your point here, Phil, again, while they're all watching for like, what, 10, 15, a minute and a half, the truck slowly fall through the hole. All of them, everybody. Nobody shoots them.
No.
Nobody shoots these.
No, and I forgot to mention another thing, too, that we talked about before. You said something about Joel's gun being jammed, but when Kathleen was doing her first monologue, it seemed to me anyways that Joel had a shot and he didn't take it, but that's just me. Luna says shoot like Sonny at the toll booth. Yes, exactly, like Sonny at the toll booth, which is one of the most different Godfather kill, but Joe, but definitely very relevant. Sonny's kill is when he goes.
They were eating the cannolis at the toll booth.
No. That's the Polly kill. The guy that called in sick on Don Corleone. The Sonny kill is when they had Carlo, beat Connie and call Sonny, knowing that he would go to beat the shit out of him, and they got him at the toll booth and gave him one of the most horrifying kills ever in existence.
That's right.
Sorry, I have like a weird thing going on. Okay, they should have wrapped it up like the music in the Oscars. Joseph says, you're both kind of right. Very tropey, very fun, very cheesy, but really tasty cheesy. Yes, Joseph. And that's kind of my point, Joe, and this is a differentiating point that you and I have had for years. It's the Anthony Hopkins argument. I don't care if Anthony Hopkins plays the same character over and over again if it's good. If it's good and done well and a trope works, it's why they do the same plays over and over again on repeat. I don't mind repetition of certain tropes or certain ideas if they're done and evolved in an interesting way with good acting and good direction. And I think most of what we see on this show, Kathleen aside, has been, even if they trope it or cliche it, they do it in a good way that is good television.
I'm sorry. Forever I will... 2 points. One to go... Before I will never be okay with
Anthony Hopkins.
With this trope. this trope is not something that works for me ever anymore. It's always the same. The one time it hasn't been the same in forever that worked was Game of Thrones. They cut Ned Stark's head off.
Yeah, and the Red Wedding.
Yes, it wasn't really a speech, though, for the most part, delivered by the bad guy before it. It was just kind of a nod and a do it, if I remember correctly, right? But also, and the music playing ominously in the background, right?
Speaking of Joel, you could say Oberyn gave a speech before the mountain got him.
Right? Exactly. And there you go. There you go. Say it. Say it. Yep, that trope there too. That was a great death, though, but still troped up there too.
But they broke the trope by I guess they broke the trope by reversing it in that situation by having the hero
the good guy, yes,
give the speech and having it fuck up on him.
Yep. And to get to another point you made, the moment when she's giving her first speech and Joel doesn't shoot, someone in the chat also said, or much earlier when we talked about this, they thought he didn't shoot because it would have given away his position in that window immediately at that point, and you have an army with guns and automatics that would have opened fire at that house.
Yeah.
And the outcome would have been Joel either dying or running, and the four of them being in the hands of or getting killed also.
So let's continue with this a little bit, and we're almost done with the episode itself, and then we got a bunch of voicemails. Please, if you want to get your voicemail in right now, 781-990-8509. If I missed your chat, you have something to say, tell Joe he's off, I'm off, tell us we're dumbasses, whatever, or agree with us. We appreciate it. We also appreciate all of our super chatters tonight that help keeping us going. Our channel members, we see you guys in the live chat. We appreciate everyone popping on in. We know this is a weird, not an off night. We don't usually stream on Friday evenings, as Sunday evening is our night. But we're going to start doing a lot more streams, or I'm going to start streaming a lot more in the next coming months. Because why not? Why not, Joe? I don't have a social life, so I might as well start doing this shit more, not daily, but a couple of times a week. And I know you can probably only join me on Sundays and random times, but we'll try to get Joe on as much as possible too, if he's watching the shit as well. I'd love to do maybe like a weekly show where we just talk about the shit that we're watching. And I know I've gotten a couple of requests here and there for Katie's return to the stream. I will say that we can guarantee that Katie might jump on maybe like for like a full stream, maybe like once or twice a year. She's very busy. She's on call with her work and her stuff, so she can't always join us. But one of these days we'll find an opportunity. I think what will probably happen.
She wants to find an opportunity to come back.
I think what will probably
join the show as well.
What probably will happen is I'll end up doing a live watch of some sort at my house where I invite Joe and Katie over, and we'll watch the Golden Globes or the Oscars or something stupid, or a movie or a live musical, and we'll get her on one of those rather than a weekly recap, because she works and she studies and she does a lot of stuff, so she's busy. But I've got a couple of messages wondering if we can get Katie the Crow back, and yes, she will be on, but we can only guarantee on her maybe once or twice a year we'll get Katie to fly on in, but it will definitely happen. We should get some hot tub streams, Bubba Husky.
Nobody wants to see me in the hot tub.
If we only see your face, it would be fine. So anyways, Jules,
I'll get a hot tub background for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll get a green screen kind of thing. Okay, so all the zombies come out. It's all fucking crazy. It's insane. And then this giant motherfucking boss zombie comes out. Joe, tell me about bloaters. What the fuck are bloaters? Do you deal with them often in the game? Are they the hardest to deal with in the game?
Oh yeah. They are a pain in the ass to kill. They take a lot of damage, and they are super strong. They're been around as infected longer than even clickers have, and they're
So
mutated.
I have a question, Joe. So are
And
they
they're fatter, less like that looked like a tight kind of
Joe?
motor.
I have a regular question to ask you in some ways.
42.
How does so if someone gets infected, do they automatically turn into a clicker or a bloater or something, or is it a process? You start off as a runner, then you eventually can become a clicker when you lose your sight, and then you eventually become a bloater if you survive long enough.
Yes.
Bubba Husky.
Exactly like that. Yes.
Bubba Husky.
That's the way it's kind of explained in the game.
I definitely want to jump on Twitch more. I have a technical difficulty. I'm broke and my capture device broke, so I need to get a new one at some point. But I will, and I definitely still have to finish that game. I have the final boss, and I have to stream Zelda when it comes out in May. So I will be streaming on Twitch. If people like video game stuff, definitely check that out. I might do a single video game stream on this particular channel. I also, Joe and I have a streaming channel that we both haven't touched in a while. We might end that channel and start a new one, start a new streaming channel. But I will definitely do that. And Joe and I will find some 2-player game to stream at some point. And one of these days, again, I will do a video game stream on this actual channel. Let's continue. Maud Mary says, I tend to agree with Joe about the Kathleen not having her army just surround the car. And she already told to shoot with no... Yeah, she said to shoot on sight. So in that situation, why is she even waiting to talk and engage at all? Why isn't she just going in right and killing?
Yep. And it makes her character appear even more just dumb.
But to get back to this, Joe, now having 5 episodes in, not necessarily amount, but do you think the infected have been depicted well? Was this a good depiction of a bloater for you?
It was good enough. The bloaters all look exactly the same in the game, right?
And it looked like this?
They look a little bit fatter and bloated, like they're filled with some fluid, or like they've been like a body that's been, dead body that's been in the water too long. They have a little bit more of that kind of appearance, but they're supposed to be. They're really strong and take like shit ton of fucking damage.
So out of all the kinds of infected, do you feel like the clicker, the bloater, or the runners were depicted the closest to what you feel from the game?
Yes. They were all depicted
damn well.
With the exception of like the shit in the mouth. They've all been depicted so far as the game.
Who do you think was the best?
We don't get enough. So there's so much sneaking around in the game. Like, especially if you play this game on hard mode, you're not gunning through the whole thing.
Is it stealthy?
It's stealthy. You have to listen, and you can hear where things are. It'll show you like a little, like, oh, there's something around that corner if you listen. But when you play it on hard mode or the super hard mode, that listen shit doesn't work. Like, you have very few bullets. They're coming across these supplies to build any kind of bomb or nailed baseball bat and things like that are few and far between. So you end up having to rely on crouch walking and hiding and crawling and not making noise and not using your weapon and doing stealth kills on a lot of these runners. So one of the things that depicts the runners, we saw them all laying on the ground, rolling around. We haven't really seen. They're just standing in the fucking corner, like shaking and mumbling, and like, Argh! There's a lot of that. And like, you should have to sneak up on. That we should be seeing Joel and Ellie sneak up on a few to dispatch them, not just the few that have automatically zoned in and heard them and come running at them. That's very much what happens in the game. But we haven't seen this kind of like. They should be like everywhere in these buildings, like just standing there, shuddering and shivering to themselves, waiting to hear noise and waiting to hear something to go run after and go kill. And we're not getting any of that. They have really kind of toned down a lot of
now,
this infected threat.
Joe,
and the Fedra threat is non-fucking existent.
Joe, let's get to a couple of voicemails at the moment, and then we'll finish up the recap.
Hello, it's the voice at 916 again. Joe, you are the man. You are telling the truth. Phil, I love you, but Joe is absolutely right. Tropes, formulas, all that kind of thing is getting so tired. We really need some more creative thought processes in our shows. And audiences will appreciate that. They really will, and they'll recognize quality. So, Joe, I have to agree with you. Absolutely.
There we go.
You can't keep giving me the same thing. Like, it's a bologna and cheese sandwich, right? Oh, but it's got lettuce on it. Okay, yeah, it's still a bologna and cheese sandwich, but this time we put mustard on it too.
Dude.
Okay, it's still a bologna and fucking cheese sandwich.
Stop.
Oh, but this time we put the cheese between the two pieces of bologna instead of on top of the two pieces of bologna.
Stop making me hungry, Joe. Here we go. This is where it says the suspected spam. So I don't know if this might be weird, Joe. So let's listen to this voicemail. Let's see where this goes.
I wanna kiss you all over and over and again. I wanna kiss you all over. Dun dun dun. Till the night closes in. Till the night closes in.
Why are we getting kissed all over?
Have a good night.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you so much, area code 813. That made my night. That was beautiful. Okay, let's listen to this quick voicemail. Let's see what this person has to say.
This is Joseph from 515, and I officially disagree with Joe.
That's fine. That's fine. People can disagree with me. I like to hear what they disagree with me about. Oh, he said completely, so that's everything.
Completely everything. Everything.
That's fine.
I like it.
And that's fine.
I totally subscribe to that voicemail.
Lots of people do. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. You know, you can disagree. 2 + 2 = 4. Doesn't mean it equals 5.
Okay, we got a couple of messages from our good buddy at 773. Let's listen to these.
Hey guys, I'm having that Chris Hardwick comment. It's funny because it's true. But anyway, I had a question. I know, Phil, you mentioned you played the Telltale games. There is a game, it's not a Telltale game, but it's...
And in fairness, I played a few of the Telltale games. Joe played every single Telltale game that known to existence.
I played them all.
Known to existence.
Like a Telltale game, but...
And our friend Nick delivered food to all the guys at Telltale. There was like a half a moment where Nick was trying to get me to be like a character model in a Telltale game. He couldn't figure it out, but he was trying.
Much better. At least to me, in my opinion. You may have played it. It's called Detroit Becoming Human. What I would like to know if you played it, or if Joe's played it.
I have.
Do you think that game could have been a series like Last of Us?
What do you think, Joe? Could that we've talked about it a little bit before? Could any of the other Telltale games could that have been a series like The Last of Us?
I haven't played it.
Okay, I haven't played that either yet. So
I thought it was something else. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's listen to the next voicemail then.
Hello, it's me again. I'm going through the internet. I don't know if this is true, but someone out there is thinking the number 38 is going to be an important number sometime in this series. The number 38.
38?
I don't know if it's true. I doubt it's true. In fact, I think it's bull. But who knows? I just wanted to throw that out there right now in case it does come to fruition. That's all I wanted to say.
Joe,
taking up enough of your time.
Is there anything to do with the game with the number 38? You can quick draw this one. No,
I'm not. It's nothing about the 38 or 38 or is coming to mind.
So let's put this one on hold. Let's put a Joe Stress here and see what it is. And we got one more voicemail from 773, and the voicemail lines are still open. So if anyone still wants to call in, 781-990-8509. Take us to task. Tell us what you think about this episode or about anything. At this point, we're just about to end the episode. Free forum discussion at the end here. If you have a question about anything, bring it on. Last message from 773.
Good evening, gentlemen. It is me again.
We haven't finished the recap.
No, not yet.
Provoked my own questioning. For the final episode, will you, Phil, and you, Joe, be in the same room since you live close to each other, correct? If you do, like, be in the same room.
Okay, I'm gonna wait. Let's finish this.
And have something very special planned for the finale. And also, I also was wondering this too. The Walking David, with your impersonations, and you said you didn't play the game. Would you play the game with your impersonations on? That would be a great treat. I'm looking forward to hearing these questions answered.
Okay, I don't think David's still watching, but I think David is game to play any game. As for whether Joe would be in the same room, whether we'd be in the same room doing a podcast, the funny...
David, is David still in the chat? And if you are in the chat, do you have a PS4? And why aren't you on my friends list if you do? If you have an Xbox, you should sell that shit and get a PS4.
And
then we can stream games together. We can play like Call of Duty and shit and go murk people all day long.
In fairness, it's interesting to say this because... would Joe and I be in the same place doing this in the same area? This is an interesting conversation because Joe and I literally are probably a 3 to 5 minute...
2/10 of a mile away.
Yeah, we're very close to each other, so it's kind of ridiculous in a way.
Oh no, actually, it's about almost exactly a half a mile.
But if I told Joe to come here every week to do this podcast, he would never he'd never be here. So, but could we do it sometimes? Probably sometimes. We could possibly do it for the season finale.
It would be tough. I know it's really close, but just going out and then coming home afterwards, it would be. I got to work Mondays. So
yeah. Tonight, honestly, in retrospect, tonight would have been a good night to do it. But
yes.
But
I'll do that shit on the finale.
Sundays are tough, but if people really want us to be in the same place at the same time on the finale night, we can try to do it for a season finale. Because if it's a one-off, I think we could get Joe to do it. But considering we do Sunday nights,
and here's the thing: it's close enough for me to walk home, fucking shithoused. So.
Yeah, Joe hasn't drinking in a year, so that would be
over a year. Yeah,
so season finale night, Joe coming over here to watch the episode, and then we stream it. Getting drunk could be a party. We could figure that out. Joe and I will talk about that a little bit off stream, but that's definitely a major possibility. Right, Joe? That's a possibility?
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue with our recap here. Closest TV show to Detroit being human is probably Westworld. In this economy, Big Daddy, oh boy, I'm feeling console wars. I thought Joe and Phil lived in the same apartment building. Close. I think this is the closest Joe and I have ever lived.
No, Marblehead.
Were we even closer in Marblehead?
Oh shit, Swampscott.
Oh yeah, when you lived in Swampscott. Yeah, that's true. Totally when you lived in Swampscott. But that being said, we live pretty damn close.
Like that Swampscott walk, it doesn't seem far because you know how many times you did it or whatever, but that field is pretty big and then it's a little bit distant down the road. Probably about the same as here.
That being said,
the same as Marblehead.
I literally walk my dog past your house every day.
We've lived in 3 different towns at the same time as each other, and all 3 times within a half a mile.
Joe, we have a question for you for the super chat donation. I'm going to go spin the wheel. What level of play Last of Us for a beginner gamer, Joe? What should I play for a beginner gamer?
A beginner, altogether beginner gamer? I would say just put that shit on the easiest mode and have at it, like, and enjoy the story and enjoy the like not knowing what you're doing. But if you're an experienced gamer, or been gaming just like a challenge and like to go nuts trying to like do the same Sudoku, find the next move in a Sudoku for 7 hours, kind of fucking nuts like I am, then put that shit straight up on fucking grounded mode and get ready to bash your face through your television, because they'll throw your controller through it. But if you want to just have a fun, relaxed, great story and some fun gameplay that you can pretty much, once you're comfortable with the controls, run through and not have to worry about hiding too much or staying quiet or keeping an eye on your ammo and not using your supplies and
Yeah,
making
Joe,
sure you search every corner for every last nugget of whatever. Put that shit on easy and have at it, man.
I know
Do
some.
it.
I know some people have problems with easy modes, but I have no problems with easy modes. I know, Luna. It's very late, but you landed on a musical fun, so I'm gonna play this stupid little music box thing for a second. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's something. Thank you so much for that super chat donation. It means more than you know. Here we go. Wait. Here we go. Thank you so much for that super chat donation. Means more than you know. I wish I could bang on the bongos or go play the drum set for you, but there you go.
John.
None.
No, he can play all the instruments.
Not
every single one of
not
them.
well.
He can play.
Not well. How many instruments do I play well?
How many? At least two.
At least two. No.
Should you count percussion? Each different drum as a
I
different,
would say
style drum as a different
I
instrument?
would say, Joe, if I'm being honest, I play hand percussion. I play regular drum set, which is new. I play the trumpet, and I can kind of play guitar and bass in the right situation. This is me playing real drum set. I'm not out of rhythm. So yeah, that's a little tease of a song coming out.
Did you sing while you were drumming, or did you lay the track down afterwards?
Live I sing while I drum, but in that situation,
that's difficult to do.
It's tough. I don't do either thing well. So I would say I play trumpet, hand percussion, regular drums. Those three.
Percussion, trumpet, and guitar.
I don't play guitar a little bit. We got Kyle with another super chat donation. Thank you so much for that super chat donation. Let's continue.
Joseph, what's he gonna? He's gonna be standing outside. He's gonna have like the drum strapped to his back, the fucking trumpet in his mouth, the fucking accordion in front of him, and a kick pedal or some shit. Maybe a fucking monkey on a lotus on a grinder next to him.
That'd be fun.
Outside of Madison Square Garden doing that.
Joe, hold it down. I gotta get a towel.
Busking away, fucking looking for those waters getting thrown in his setup case. No, he's actually really good, very talented. As someone who has been there and sat many hours in the room in his basement, in his listened to him. Not listening to the TV, but only hearing him just sitting there fucking out of my mind on different substances. I can tell you that his progression, he's come a long way, and he's a really talented person. So,
oh, shut up.
Very, very creative when it comes to performance art, both theater, music, stage performance stuff. That's his. You can obviously see it. This show, it's part. It's even like even his critiquing is about that thing about critiquing art in performance arts. So like that's his jam, and he spent a lot of time.
Okay. Now, enough.
It's true
of that.
though. It's true.
Enough
it's
of
true.
that. Enough of that.
You have, and I'm not saying you were always good. I said I suffered through hours of it. Right?
Oh yeah.
Him learning and watching his progression,
especially
it's something he's never given up on, and he's dedicated a lot of
especially
time to,
especially the trumpet playing.
Very talented.
Especially the trumpet playing. Thank you, Joe. So, anyways, Joel is on the sniper rifle thing. He's like, "What the fuck is this giant motherfucker?" Comes out and yeah, it's huge. Ellie's in the car, but
everybody's already in chaos, shooting at like the string
it's
little ones that came out.
It's mad, crazy chaos. Ellie thinks she stops one, but she jumps in the car, and Joel shoots it, but it's still alive. But she escapes. She knifes.
Sam and Henry jam themselves under a car to hide. That ain't working.
Yeah,
it might work if none of them heard you or saw you go under that car.
Yeah, but they did. She knifes one. Joel shoots one. Kathleen has them at gunpoint, but nope. The monster jumps her ass and tackles her. And this is what I wrote, Joe. She had them at gunpoint, but nope. The monster jumps her ass and tackles her, and comically pulls her off. It was comical.
It was hilarious.
So did you get any joy in watching Kathleen? Because I know last week you talked a little bit about a fear of her being a recurring villain. So you're
for
at least
more than just this next step, for more than just what was
right. So you were you at least happy that this is all we got of her?
Well, now that we've seen the tropes that they're willing to fucking go headlong right into and put up like it's supposed to be new and entertaining, after seeing that, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the fucking Heroes season 2 opener trope and fucking Silas ain't dead. He snuck down a fucking manhole. And that once the camera came off, her getting beaten and bit, she wasn't shot. Or maybe she's fucking immune too and ends up fucking still chasing them down. I wouldn't put it fucking past them at this point after seeing the fucking bad tropes I saw tonight. So like, if she's not dead, like, done. I'll give up on the episode.
Do you know what's really interesting?
If she is dead, I'm okay.
Do you know what's really interesting, Joe? If we go back and we listen to your reaction after the first 2 episodes compared to right now, you've come.
It didn't take much. I'm like,
you are high on these shows. This show after the first 2 episodes, and last week you were cautious about maybe falling out on it, but you were still holding on.
I was still high on episode 3. I thought was fantastic.
The first 3 episodes you were feeling hardcore. It's episode 4 and 5 where you feel like they've made
some pretty bad decisions in these last 2 episodes with how they were written, how they were pieced together, the tropes they blatantly fucking threw at us, the obvious magic fucking television moments, such as like, this is the right floor that they're hiding out on for the night. Let's ambush them and dodge all their traps.
Stuck. Maybe they tried several floors.
Oh, okay, yep. So they climbed up 33 fucking floors and searched all fucking 33 of them. Yep.
Maybe they smelt the SpaghettiOs. The beefaroni, excuse me. Maybe they smelled the beefaroni.
That's what it was. Okay, sure. Like I said, TV magic that they magically came out on the 33rd floor and chose the right building that they were going to climb up so they could get a good view of the city.
Joseph says it's official. Yep. Rename the show to the second to The Last of Us. So let's continue. She knifes one. Joel shoots undercover, and Kathleen has him gunpoint, but no, the monster jumps out and tackles her and comically heads her off. They bond after the fight, endure and survive. They laugh. It's great. Joel basically says to Henry that, I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what's going on, but if you guys want to come with us, I don't know how I'm getting there. Maybe I'm fucking walking. But if you want to come to Wyoming, you can come to Wyoming with me. And that's pretty cool. Joe, at this point, I'm excited. And again, this is my experience watching it. I'm excited to see the four of these characters have a couple of episodes together. I kind of expected in my mind, again, coming from someone who hasn't played the games, I'm watching this thinking, oh, we're going to get Henry and his brother for a few episodes here.
An outside look, an outside influence upon our two characters for another episode or two that dictates what might happen and stuff like that.
Another parallel. I like these characters. They're fun. It's going to be interesting getting to know them.
And that's what you're thinking in the game. But they don't spoil it by telling Ellie the night before. Like, he's fucking, like, did anybody out there, whatsoever,
anybody out there
feel like her blood brother packed with his fucking bite mark leg was going to cure him?
No, but again, I know that's Joe, to battle back on you. As I said, I feel like the second half of this episode was really good. I like all of this. This is
no, I understand that, and that's something that kids would do. I'm saying as an intelligent audience watcher, that's not going to be something that works.
No,
that's not going to save his life, right?
In fairness, it worked in Heroes, but that show is stupid.
In the game, right? I just brought up Heroes too. In the game, that's not something that happens. She goes into that room that he's going to sleep in, gives him a toy that she took from a toy shop that he showed that was interested in it, that Henry wouldn't let him fucking have, and they bond this couple of minutes, and then she goes and sleeps in her room, and when she goes to wake him up in the morning, he's just turned. Right? Having her do that, we know he's going to be dead in the morning.
So right? Just from a television standpoint, you didn't like this?
No, I don't think it was done well as well.
I thought it was really cool. I thought it was done. No, that's not what No. Stop. You just said it wasn't done as well as the game. Fair.
Correct.
Was it good from a television standpoint? Did you enjoy the television that you were watching tonight?
That's what I'm getting at. No, because as an intelligent audience member,
I'm stupid.
No.
I'm
but
kidding.
This isn't going to work, right? You know that it's something that it's a moment of kids being kids, but it also, like I said earlier,
it was believable.
Again, I'm going back to knowledge I have from the game, right? Knowing about Ellie's past, it's a moment that doesn't play well with me. And knowing about the fact that he's going to turn and she ends up falling asleep in that room, that it's taking a chance that everybody in that, all four of them are going to get bit by this kid. Like, there's so much wrong with it that I didn't
honestly,
really like it.
Honestly, Joe, when I was watching it, I was a little confused because Henry gives Ellie the nod, like, thank you for being his friend. And they go back and forth and they talk about being scared. And she says, I'm scared all the time of scorpions. And she jokes and the kid gives a weird look. And he says about having the monster inside and he shows the bite. And for a moment, I'm like, has he always been bit? It didn't compute in my mind that, he got bit in the exchange. And then Ellie says, I have magic blood. And she cuts herself and she touches her blood to his wound.
And maybe it's also just to make him feel better. But still, she then stays in the room and ends up passing out like every kid.
Puzzle Cat, to your question, though,
really does.
Puzzle Cat says Ellie knew the blood wouldn't save him. She was just trying to keep him from being scared. Fair enough.
Right.
But then what she should have done in that situation is done that and then been like, well, I gotta go in the other room.
I gotta go get some more cookies for us.
Yeah, let me go get some cookies. And then told Joel and the other dude and been like, what do we do?
Yep. And it just doesn't play well for me.
Joe,
the way they do it in the game, he doesn't tell anybody. He's alone when his change happens.
Joe, I have a question. In this universe, can you sever limbs to stop turning into an infected?
Not covered.
Well, explain.
It's not something that.
Oh, it's not something that's covered. Okay.
It's not explored that I can remember in either game. It's not.
So just to finish off the episode here,
I don't think it happened in the second game at all. The only person I remember losing an arm is Lev's sister gets her arm smashed up with a hammer and they cut it off because it gets compartmental syndrome. But no, as far as I know, removing the limb doesn't work.
So she sleeps in a chair. She promises him that she won't sleep, but she does pass out and she sleeps in a chair. And then they she wakes up the next morning and Henry's just kind of he's just sitting there. Okay, she wakes up, she sleeps in the chair and wakes up, she touches him, and next thing
as soon as she makes a noise,
he starts attacking her. And she screams for Joel and Henry. They run in. Joel's about to step in, but Henry says no. But then Henry ultimately shoots his brother. And
he shot at fucking Joel's feet.
Yep, to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
And he shoots his own brother, and then he starts freaking out. He's like, what did I fucking do? What did I fucking do? Joel's like, give me the gun. Henry's like, what the fuck?
He's pointing it at Joel at this point. So Joel might be like in the game, he tells Joel it's all his fault.
Yep.
And then ends up shooting himself.
And Joseph, yes, that's what I'm thinking. He should have Herscheled him. And it's just a big, crazy, intense moment. And ultimately, Henry turns the gun on himself and shoots himself, Joe. I did not expect this. It's intense as hell. How did you feel the first time you saw this in the video game?
Exactly how you're feeling right
now. Yeah, dude.
Exactly how you felt earlier.
It fucking freaked me out, dude. It was intense as hell, man.
And you want to keep an intense as hell moment, not really alter our character's character at all. And if you had written that alternate scene the way I've explained multiple times in this podcast, it would have played just as well and even gone a long way to Joel's character and what he's capable of, what he will do, and to get the job done that he's doing to keep people safe. Like, it's exactly what should have happened.
Joe,
I really feel like my explaining of how that whole, from the moment they fucking stop that army and she starts twirling her mustache, what I've said should have happened. You could have kept everything else with the monsters coming out of the hole, the bloater, the chaos. All of that can still happen the moment after Joel puts that fucking bullet in her head, right? But the bit kid, now you're coming. You still get that moment that you got with between him and Henry, where you could come with us to Mississippi, right? Joel says to him, "Oh, you can come with us. It looks like you're coming with us now to find my brother. We'll get you someplace safe, kid." And then she comes out of the room later. He's bit. Boom. Now we don't have to bring that kid with us.
Now, Puzzle Cat has a couple questions for us. How does it play out, Joe, if Ellie tells Joel and Sam, or tells them both that Sam is infected?
If Sam's still alive, and I thought about this too. This is why I have that little play down between and Joel shooting the woman that just killed Henry in the street. Because if she comes out and says, "Oh, he's bitten," and both Henry and Joel, there's no way Henry allows for the killing of that kid until he turns. There's going to be a heated argument, heated discussion over it. It still feels really tropey, like the sick people in the prison in The Walking Dead. Do we kill them all? They get the flu. They're going to turn in the middle of the night kind of shit. Like, all that kind of stuff. Or the Sophia, all the zombies in the barn, are they still alive? Are they still in their kind of, argument and discussion? Still a little tropey to me. You want to clear up all that trope shit. You have Henry die in that street at her hand. She gets her revenge. Joel takes her out. maybe everybody starts unloading at the house. That street opens up. They have to stop shooting at Joel. The two kids start fucking running. They get trapped under a car. He still gets bit. All that still happens, but it makes for a real clean, real easy. And then you have the discussions in next episode of, you understand why I did what I had to do. It's a real growing up moment for fucking Ellie, and it proves the point of what Joel said earlier to her. You fucking tell anybody about that bite mark, they are going to shoot you in the face. They are not going to ask questions. They are not going to think you are the savior of the world. They are going to tell you, bye, you're dead. Like, that's it. Like, it just goes to, it would have played a lot better. A lot better. The way it was done in the game was great. It worked really well in the game. But with that one simple changes that you've already made, the only way to play that out so it works is the way I've just described. And I'm sorry, people will be like, oh, you can't have your main character, your sympathetic character, who's taken this little girl whose own fucking kid was fucking killed, and have him shoot this kid in the face. Yes, you can. He's a fucking monster. He was bit. This is only a little fucking pinprick. You're not going to feel a thing, kid. You're going to be fine. Just
Joe,
like fucking two Federal soldiers did to that kid that fucking roamed up on Boston.
Joe, that's a very interesting point in the sense that you're calling him a monster, and that I haven't felt like that has been depicted. To me, he's kind of likable.
Who? Joel or the kid?
Joel.
Right. No, I wasn't. I was calling the kid. The kid is a monster. He was bit. Even if he hasn't changed
monster.
yet, he's been bit. He's a fucking monster. You get bit, you are a monster.
As
from that moment on.
As John Haymaker says, yes, look at the flowers. So Ellie slept in the chair. She wakes up and she touches him.
Right, exactly. She could kill fucking kids. That one wasn't even infected. She was just a fucking psychopath. Carol killed the fucking kid. Have Joel kill the fucking kid. The right reason, the right purpose, the right thing to do in the situation, even though it's horrible and something that's really going to fucking nag at somebody's soul, right? This is the type of shit that Joel is capable of doing, that we will do to protect the ones that matter. Like fucking Bill said in the letter, but now it's not Tessie's doing it for. It's in Tess's memory, but it's for fucking Ellie and him.
It's all for Ellie.
It works so much fucking better. Have me at it, man. That would have been fucking. That's a much better writing of that moment in that last 10 minutes, and you still get to have your stupid Kathleen do her little fucking stupid speech, and it all would have played out so much better if you never had her open her mouth too until that moment where she's talking about, don't you know? And it works with her fucking speech. He's supposed to die? He's supposed to die, fucking Henry. Just like he does, Henry. He's supposed to die. Didn't you know? What if he was just supposed to die? Right, he is. And he's supposed to die at Joel's fucking hand in front of fucking Ellie as a big teaching and learning fucking moment. It sounds horrible. I'm hearing myself when I'm saying.
Yeah, you're pretty.
I think
pretty sick.
It's much better fucking cinema moment, television moment, much fucking high. It demands more from your audience as well. It demands that maturity from your audience members as well. To get past that, you're looking at this tragic little deaf boy who overcame leukemia just to get bitten and then shot in the face, almost fucking without feeling from Joel because the kid was bit, right? It would play much fucking better. And it demands more from your actors as well. So instead of just telling them to go out and do this stupid fucking trope that they themselves have seen done a million times by actors that are probably 10 times as good as them, and the director's thinking, but you'll do it better as Kathleen. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
So let's finish this episode off. Ellie sleeps in the chair. She wakes up. She touches him, and he turns, and Henry shoots his brother. He has to. As I said, he shoots himself. And it's a dark moment. It's fucked up. Joel digs some graves for them, brings the bags out. Ellie brings the bags out for them to go. She leaves. Ellie just runs ahead and just can't be fucked with any of this. And they head off, and they're like, let's fucking go. And that's the end of our episode, Joe. So, before we'll wrap things up here.
That could have played well too, Joseph. her doing exactly what Joel said should be done for someone is going to be done by anybody else in this world. She could have done it. It would have, but it would have made our Ellie. It would have made Ellie a little bit too psychopathy.
So Joe, it is
plays better as Joel doing that than her doing it, I think.
It is time for our last call. This is bad music for it. No, this doesn't sound like last call music. Sorry, just clicked on the first music I had. It's real stupid. Last call. If anyone has any last minute questions or comments, now's the time. Popping them in the chat. Calling in 781-990-8509. We're going to give our overall ratings of this episode. Joe, 1 out of 10 side buttholes.
Still at 6.
6? You're 6 on this one too? 6.
The only thing that saved this is the action sequences at the end. Even like the cut up inside that action sequence is kind of deterred from like my enjoyment of what should have been one of the better gameplay moments in the game that they've so far included. Again, I also think that because of how much is involved in that scene, in the first place, in that like when they duck behind the car, from that moment on, there's a lot that goes into getting behind that house, taking that out, kind of. Just there's a lot wrong with this episode in my mind, as you've heard. Even though
you started out saying, it's funny, if you start the early part of this podcast for your rewind time, you would,
I liked it.
Yeah, you said you liked it though.
That's why it's over a 5. It's still in the likable territory. It's still over.
So you're
like 5 is 0 to 10, right?
All right, we're doing
so
passing.
5 is the middle, 10 is the best, and 1 is the worst. It's still over the middle.
Should we do letter grade? So you're giving it a D?
No. So if you do letter grades, that's different, right? We doing
what should we do?
We've A plus, A minus.
Yeah, what should our ranking system? What should our rank? You like the 1 through 10 system?
I like the 1 through 10. 5 is exactly middle, right? If last week was a 6, this week I guess I could give a 6.5.
Okay, so if last week I think
it's definitely not 7 territory.
Oh
and
no,
approaches nowhere near 8, 9.
See,
and 10.
This is where I think you get some.
No, because I got all that Kathleen issue. I got all that trope issue. I got all
Kathleen
that,
was
the magic find them on floor 33 issue. I keep the issues pile up, and like you make a bad decision and then you keep making bad decisions. That's how this felt to me from what came out of the production team. I felt like there were moments that people in these rooms should have fucking spoken up, but they're like, I'm just so happy to have a job, and this is that fucker's baby. He wrote the game.
So are you done?
He directed the game, and we can't voice our concern. Like it was this big thing that the Chernobyl guy came up to him, was like, what if we make the kid deaf? I love it. I wish I had thought of it too.
You heard that too?
Yeah, it was like the first 2 minutes of the before I came over.
So are you done? Are you done? I'm giving.
Well, seriously, like nobody else in the room said, can we not do one of the biggest tropes in fucking television fucking history here and not have her twirl her fucking mustache and not have the day be saved at the last second by an even more horrible thing? Like, there was so can we not please write what was great and give tropes instead? Like, you have a video game outline that doesn't really use too many of these tropes.
You loved this in the first 2 episodes. You were so happy. So Laura says she gives this series a 5 so far. Joseph gives this episode a B. John Haymaker C+. Most of the episodes are directed by different directors. I would give this episode a 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. That's my. I really like the end of. Joe's like, we can't be friends anymore. It's over.
No. I can respect your opinion. I can respect, like I said.
I think you're being a little hard on it.
And I am being a little hard on it because of how bad it is. Like honestly, it's like straight into WB territory with this episode. With
So
the
you
way
think
it's written.
you think this is a C? No, you mean CW. You think this is CW?
So,
shit?
yeah, sure. This is CW. This is straight fucking Arrow shit, dude.
You're fucked. Okay, let's listen to our
This is like Charmed. This is almost an episode of Charmed.
like good like early season Charmed.
No, like late season where the fucking White Lighters kid just magically turns into a 20-year-old.
You're such a douchebag. Okay, let's listen to we got one more voicemail from our good buddy Jay. If anyone else has a last minute voicemail, now is the time. Here we go. This is from Jay.
If someone's been bitten, I mean,
Yup.
I get that it's like hard, but like, shouldn't you just kill that person?
Yup.
I mean, they've been bitten and are going to turn at some point, which means they
Yup.
could probably affect the rest of the group. So,
Yup.
like,
Yup.
I mean,
That's what
shouldn't
Joel
you
says to Ellie.
like just take that person out when as soon as they fall asleep or something? All right, later.
Yup.
Yup. Yup. Luna says Joe loved the game so much that he expected more from
I
HBO.
expected much more. I expected much more, and this is why. You have this great game, masterpiece by all accounts, not just my own, right? And you've dumbed it down. The changes you've made have not been necessarily for the better. I like the Frank backstory. That's a big change, and that was for the better. I loved it. The extra stuff we got at the beginning and the prelogue with
the scientist stuff
and the scientist stuff and the both parts, both episodes that had it. This stuff I really liked that stuff, but so much more now. It feels like you got lazy and are relying on these tropes that really ruin your product. You had what was almost perfection, and you're not just dumbing it down, you're stealing other people's bad fucking overused idea and using it again. Like,
so let's
how many movies and TV shows do we have to sit through the same exact scene with a different actor?
Hopefully they will make it up for you more in the next episode. We got one more voicemail from Jay here. Let's listen to it.
I just wanted to say, your thoughts about the episode are, yours, and you are entitled to whatever. But Phil thinks about the scale of 1 to 10 the right way. You should think about it like the grading scale. So, like, 7 would be the equivalent of 70, which would be a C.
Yeah, that's how I think
so,
about it.
yeah, I just wanted to say he's right on that. All right, later.
Yeah, so a 6 would be a D, and it's still passing, but you're not happy with what you got.
Right.
Right?
So that's what I'm saying.
So there you go.
So you're saying you're giving this episode a D.
Well, if you're doing it, but that's still...
I'm giving this episode a C plus. I'm giving this episode a C plus, B minus.
Are then based on the 1 through 10, and it's still a 6. It ain't no B plus. It ain't no like it passed as an episode because some things saved it, but it barely fucking got there.
See, this is where I'll say to cater to my own taste here.
Listen. You don't get to hand in a paper that's 3/4 plagiarized and think you deserve to fucking be.
But if you end it with a really convincing,
it doesn't matter. It's still
paragraph.
Somebody else's fucking
the
work.
paragraph
it's
at the
still
end.
Somebody else's
Joe,
fucking
the
work.
paragraph at the end.
You're lucky you got a passing mark at all. You stole somebody else's work.
Well, the
you
paragraph
put it down like it was your own. I'm sorry. The entire Kathleen fucking storyline is overused.
But the paragraph
at
the
that. You should have put a footnote at the end of the fucking scene that said, by the way, this scene was taken from, and then a list like fucking Star Wars fucking scrolling goes across the screen that lists every fucking movie and TV show you saw that trope from. It should have been listed at the end in the credits. That one in parentheses that you saw
Oh my
that flashed
God.
up on the screen when
Oh
Kathleen
my
started growing
God.
her fucking mustache has been used in this, that, and fucking named them all. We already named them all.
Oh my.
Jesus.
Oh my.
It doesn't. You don't get a. You're right. You
Jesus
shouldn't. I
is
shouldn't
right.
have given him a D. I shouldn't have given him the D in the 60 and a passing mark. They fucking plagiarized so many other things. And I'm sorry, but Kathleen did not do it better than at least 100 of the other incarnations that I have seen do it. She did not.
You keep getting worse and worse on this episode as the night goes on. You started out saying you liked it.
I did. I liked the parts that reminded me enough of the game, that gave me that smile. But the more we sit here and the more we talk about it and pick it apart, I can't be nice on the shit that I'm not going to be nice on.
Oh my
I get to
God.
see more and I get to think about more about the episode that I just watched instead of having that. And that's why we should have done this when fucking Star Wars rebooted up and put out Phantom fucking Menace. I wouldn't have wasted an extra 3 fucking views in the theater.
We did do it with the sequel series, and I got to admit that in those podcasts, you and Matt ended up being right, and I was the one saying I liked them.
Yep.
You and Matt ended
I
up.
was like, nope, not doing any more of these. Can't watch those movies.
Nope. But we did do one that was, I think, the only time I actually got you and Matt on the same podcast. Was I engaged? I'm with Puzzle Cat. Was I engaged and entertained? B fucking plus, Joe. B fucking plus. Oh, we got
until like, yeah, I really
fuck you.
liked
The end of this
few
episode.
bites of my cereal, and then I was like, wait a second.
No.
I think this milk is bad. I did,
Stop your ass for a second.
But I was hungry enough to finish my bowl of cereal.
The end of this episode was A plus. The end of this episode was A plus material. Beginning was C, so it averages on a B.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. One moment can ruin it all. And this had more than one moment. It got a passing grade. I'm giving it a passing grade because yes, I was engaged and entertained through.
Were you not
on many parts? Were you not?
Were you not?
Are you not
entertained? Okay, so we got one more voicemail from our buddy Jay. Let's see what Jay has to say.
Hey, Joe, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but you're reaching out for plagiarism
Tell him,
on
Jay. Go,
a property that is already, like...
I know, it's a zombie show.
Being
right?
knowingly copied. Don't you think you're reaching a little bit?
Yeah, no.
He is.
Believe me, as I was saying... As I'm saying, the plagiarism,
we'll pause. We'll play the rest of your message, Jay. Go.
It's a zombie show at its core, even though it's an infected outbreak at its core. Also, yes, it's a macro story that is already plagiarized, and then to just instead of making up your own great moments, and I know plagiarism is a strong word, and redoing like. How many paintings of a guy standing in a field holding a rake are there? It's not all a take on the old couple standing there, that famous one, right?
The two,
but
the husband and wife standing there like
exactly right. Like there's a lot of paintings of people standing in a field, but like they'll still be making them, and some are good and some are bad, and that's the point Phil kind of makes with seeing these tropes. But like, dude. You paint something original inside there. Like, don't give us that trope again.
And they exist within it, but sometimes you can't help because it's just part of.
You can. I just outlined exactly how you helped it. I just gave the writers the outline of how they should go back and rewrite these two shows and re-fucking edit them. Because I'll tell you, it would have played a lot more. And the fucking noise that would have come out of Joel putting a bullet in a bitten kid's fucking face. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's a fucking television moment that would go down for fucking ever. That's a Ned Stark moment right there. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Wasted opportunity. Instead of trying to come up with anything original, even if you think my idea is just too far gone because our main character is popping this dude in the face, and it wasn't too far gone for Carol to do. Even if you think that that's too far fucking gone, right? Anything else would have played better. You could have. You're writers. You're professional fucking writers getting paid to fucking do that. I'm not. I'm a schmuck sitting behind a computer that's got a loud mouth and an annoying personality, right? But it's still better than what you gave us. You could have done better. Do better next time.
Do better from Joe Dirty Locks to you. Let's play the rest of Jay's message.
Knowingly copied. Don't you think you're reaching a little bit? And by the way, every story takes things from it. There are no original stories. Like since the beginning of time, I think there are like 5 stories that have been changed.
I saw that movie that said that too. I forget what movie that was in.
Been adapted.
There's only 5 original stories that have ever been written, and everything else is a copy of those. Yep, I saw that. I don't know what that's from, but it's a good point, and they go into a little bit more depth and kind of explain it as well. And you're right. But if you're already, if we're already there and we're copying all these stories over again, at least you can make the details your own.
Joe,
please.
Let's get the petition going for Joe to write season 2. Let's play the end of Jay's message.
No, at least help to get me in the room to yell at these motherfuckers and tell them what's real, what's right.
Get Joe to be a script advisor here.
Yeah, the stories.
Seriously, I'd be happy
there
doing
really
that.
are
I'm
no
not a
original
writer.
stories anyway. You need to, I don't know, drink some wine or chill or smoke some weed or something. All right.
Jay, you've been watching this show now.
Hey, Joe,
You've
I
been
want to
watching.
tell you,
Hold on, Jay. You've been watching this show now for how many years? You've been watching this show, and you really think that putting a bottle of wine in front of me is gonna get me to fucking calm down and stop shouting about how shitty something was? You haven't been paying attention, and I see why you think this is a good show.
Jay's not even watching
this show and that show.
Jay's not even watching Last of Us. He's just watching us.
Oh, he's not, okay.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We've still got so many folks sticking with us here, and we've been on for almost 3.5 hours here. We do appreciate that. We'll be back a week from the next Sunday.
Was that the end of his message? That wasn't the end of it.
That was the end of his message. We do appreciate everybody, all of our Super Chat donators. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So, Joe, 6 out of 10, you stick with that score? I say 7.
Like I said, maybe I could give it a 6.5 because last week's I gave a 6, and I really do think last week's was not as good as.
No, this was definitely. I would.
But I can't get into 7 territory. The tropes that they use. I know they're going to use tropes, but the tropes they used are far too egregious for something that is.
The end was so good, though, Joe. The episode ended very, very, very strong.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because
you knew it was coming.
Okay, that part. The Henry popping him, shooting.
Yeah, you knew that was coming. Like from just a television
no,
standpoint.
No,
like,
that is a strong ending.
Excellent way for
and
a television
that's right
episode
from
to
the
end.
fucking game.
It was fucking epic. As Laura said,
screams,
it was huge.
The moment Ellie screams, that's pretty much the way it goes. But instead of waking up in the room, Ellie walks into the room.
You're in a way blinded by how intense of a television moment that is because you knew it was coming.
And here's the thing. That is great for anybody who didn't know that was coming. That's a big moment for them. Yes, I agree. Give us all that big moment and do it the way I fucking outlined. Give us all that big moment because you get the big moment of Henry getting killed, of Joel killing her, of Joel killing the boy, of Ellie getting that moment of growth. Like it would have worked much better. It would have been even more powerful. It would have been even more of a moment. But yes, you are right. That particular from the moment she screams and they come rushing in, that ending, that from that point on, but that's. Like I said, all the parts that are straight ripped from the fucking game are great. They really are. They get me smiling from ear to ear. They make me halfway through that next bad scene with Kathleen or whatever. I'm not thinking about how bad it is at that moment. I'm thinking about how great the scene before was. And then by the time I'm thinking about how bad that Kathleen scene is, they're on to maybe something else that had Joel and Ellie that was maybe again
That's
game-like.
why I'm hoping that moving forward, now that we're out of Kansas City, that we're back on track for you and some of the game players. So, Joe, we'll be back next week, or not next week, not this Sunday. This Sunday's the Super Bowl, but we will be back the following Sunday, talk all about it. I might be back before then to do some sort of random stream or something. But Joe, I'll talk to you a week from Sunday.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'll talk to you before that, but you know what I mean.
Yes, you will. We'll talk to them
a week from Sunday. Love you guys. Talk to you next time. Thank you all of our Super Chat donators, all of our channel members, and all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. As well as everyone in the live motherfucking chat. Thank you for sticking with us for fucking 3.5 hours here. We appreciate it.